Hey everybody, this is Lewis Hamster with HS Game Time Live. We got a lot going on tonight, and we got some big surprises for you here as we go into Week 7. A lot of news, a lot of breaking news, a lot of big scores, including some that'll surprise you here on HS Game Time Live. Let's do it.
It's the Game Time Show, man. We here right now. Got sports, baseball, b-ball, football, every rock the crowd. We live in sports, it's the mission. Why? You should already know. Don't stop, don't blink, don't think why. This is the Game Time Show.
Well, everybody, this is Lewis Hamster on HS Game Time Live, and I am over here on camera number 1 and camera number 2. There we are. Very good. A lot going on as we get right to it with the scores that we're talking about right now. And let me get through it right now. Vista Murrieta Valley and Temecula Valley in a very tight game down in the Southwestern League. 20-13, and Paloma Valley running into all sorts of problems right now as Heritage running roughshod over Paloma Valley, 35-0 in the third quarter. Moving on, Centennial has a 27-6 lead at the half over Santiago. San Jacinto and Beaumont 10-3 at the half. Rancho Verde and Vista del Lago 28-14 in a game that's a little bit more tight than we probably would have thought, but we know Vista del Lago's got a great offense as well. King and Norco were engaged in a what could have been an interesting battle, but looks like it's all Norco at this point, 28-6. Elsinore leading Temescal Canyon 17-0 at the half. At halftime, out in Hemet, West Valley leaving Tockwitz 13-6, and Aquinas over Calvary Murrieta 14-0. Kaiser looking for its 5th shutout of the season, 21-0 as we speak right now. Well, we've got a lot going on across the Inland Empire, and I've got guests here to talk about a few things and a lot of kind of basically breaking news at this point. But I want to introduce my partners tonight. First off, Dave Zink, the main man over there. He's got the phone going crazy. He's blowing up right now as we go into our Week 7 updates. Dave, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good, Lewis. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. It's kind of a little bit crazy tonight as usual. It's always a challenge getting on the air and doing stuff as well. So we got some news we want to get to, and there you are, Dave Zink.
That's right.
Good to see you here. Let me move out here and talk about some of the things we want to get to right off the bat here. A lot of news and notes. We start for the night. We'll have scores coming throughout the whole night as well, and we'll have those CIF rankings and HS Game Time polls running through that. The first one we're going to talk about, James Stahn, the CIF Southern Section Commissioner. He is leaving or retiring, and according to the Los Angeles Times, will be pursuing interests in the academic world. Not surprising, that's considering where he comes from. And he'll be looking to be teaching in the Concordia University Master's Program as well. So a couple notes about James Stahn. He led the CIF Southern Section for basically the last 11 years through some significant growth during this period. He is the 3rd longest serving commissioner in the 97-year history of the Southern Section, and he helped see the section grow to 590 schools, Dave Zink. Pretty impressive record for him as well.
Pretty amazing.
You know, I think when you look at his body of work, I would argue that he had a successful tenure as the commissioner. Some say, you know, he was too difficult with the hardship rules, but I think that the section changed a lot of positives. Yeah, a lot of positives out of that change as well. Mainly because of the fact that the section, you know, there was adherence to some of the competitive equity issues that were in there. You see these kind of dramatic redivisioning for the playoff divisions. I think those are all positive steps in recognizing.
Well, in the association rule, there's another big thing.
The association rule, you know, not being, you know, basically being revoked at that point. That's a fundamental change that we've seen as well. You know, and so Stahn's tenure will be looked at. Here are some of the people that he succeeded. He succeeded Dean Crowley, who was a much respected commissioner as well. Crowley succeeded Stan Thomas, and Ray Plutko, who has roots here in Riverside, was there as well. Of course, the Southern Section, believe it or not, dates back to 1913, Dave. It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
It is. Well, I mean, this is one of the higher populated areas. You'd figure around the San Francisco Bay Area, and then anywhere in Southern California would be the big areas around 50, 60 years ago. Right. Okay, very good. 70. So let's move on right now. I've got a couple of things I want to talk about as well. Let's talk about Centennial for a minute. And by the way, over there's Randy Leyva. And Randy, we'll get to you in a moment. But you'll have some moments to talk about Centennial as well. But the thing I really want to talk about with Centennial is basically that they have really blown up as far as scoring goes this season. Now let's look back at 2008. In 2008, this team averaged 37.5 points per game.
in the first 6 games of the season. This year they're averaging 50.3. Now you also look down there at that second graph where it's the margin of victory. And the margin of victory this year, 40 points per game, Dave Zink. What do you think about that?
Well, it's impressive. At the same time, some of the teams that they expect they were going to be playing didn't really show up to be the teams that they were last year. I think it's kind of a mixed bag, but obviously off to a very good start.
Right, and a very interesting one as well. Let's look at how they've fared against these teams. So they opened up this year against Birmingham. They win 44-8. Of course, they blew out Mater Dei 44-13. They beat Chaparral 45-12. And the interesting part about this, Dave, is they're not really having to work real hard either.
No.
They're basically a three-quarter football team
They've yet to score in the fourth quarter.
Right, and they don't have to because they have these gigantic leads. So their margin of victory could be even bigger if they really had to, press. Now, if you look at that 2008 line there, you see the kind of the tightness they had to go against league. I would say that the schedule might be a little bit more difficult in 2008 when you look at the overall body of work from 2008. But this is a very impressive start for Centennial when you look at how they're trending toward the end of the year.
Right.
Okay. Now I'm joined now by John Asbury, who's a reporter here at the Press Enterprise. Got a lot of breaking news as well, kind of some unfortunate, sad news as well. And John, let's talk about Lucas Ransom, who killed today by possibly a great white shark.
Yeah, that's the word we're hearing. The Fish and Game is still trying to identify the shark. Right now, they're saying it's somewhere between 14 and 20 feet long.
And Lucas was a student at Paris High School. I believe he's a 2008 graduate. Right. And the reason we're talking here on HS Game Time Live, he was an outstanding athlete for the Panthers in swimming and water polo, right?
Right. Both him and his brother were star swimmers for Paris High and led them to CIF finals for several years in a row. And he was going to UC Santa Barbara, where he was studying chemical engineering.
So not only was this young man, a great athlete for Paris, who has had some really terrific swimming success over the last few years, but also an outstanding student as well. I mean, chemical engineering at UC Santa Barbara is not an easy major to take on.
That's right. He was top 5 in his class when he graduated from Paris High, and he was also taking AP classes, so he was really on a fast track to success.
Right. And let's talk about, for the second, what do we know right now? We know he was boogie boarding, but what else happened?
He went out with a friend of his, another Paris graduate, and he'd gone surfing several times, but this was the first time he'd been to this beach north of Santa Barbara off Vandenberg Air Force Base.
All right.
And about shortly before 9 a.m., they were about 100 yards offshore, and his friends saw Lucas go under, and his boogie board popped back up to the top with a sizable chunk out of it from a bite that the great white had taken.
And there's a picture of that boogie board right now. It's kind of a weird picture because it's actually sideways, but you can see how big that's a good sized boogie board, and that gash out of that is pretty amazing as well.
And Lucas suffered a severe injury to his left leg. Don't know the extent of how much the shark got or not, but his friend pulled him to shore, and by the time paramedics got there, Lucas had died.
What's interesting about this is that shark attacks in California are not uncommon, but being killed by a shark has been extremely rare in the region. Anywhere in the United States, obviously. Talk about that for a moment as well.
Yeah, last year we had a similar great white attack with a girl getting killed near San Diego, and that was an anomaly at that point. We had another attack earlier this year where a great white bit into a guy's kayak while he was out on the ocean, and some scientists are saying the warmer waters might be bringing the great whites closer into our area.
Right. Interesting as well. Okay, well, we'll keep an eye on this story as well. Paris High School was doing for the homecoming game. They were doing something tonight as well, right?
Yeah. I talked to the athletic director today, and he was running around all day just trying to get the game underway, and then news broke late this afternoon about Lucas, and it really cast a shock for the rest of the team. It's
got to be difficult for Paris to go through this because, when you have a student and an athlete who is as great as that one, as he was, everyone's going to take that one very, very hard as well.
Yeah, they said the aquatic program is really one big family.
Right.
And so.
Well, because most likely it is, because most of the aquatic programs they go from kindergarten on up, and it's just one of those deals.
And the coach was headed up to Santa Barbara to be with the family today, and I know Paris High School is going to be doing a moment of silence at their homecoming game tonight.
Okay. All right, let's go on to our next bit of news, and this involves former Tahquitz coach Mike Schroeder. Some news out of that, and I also have John Esbury as well. And basically, let's give you a timeline. Schroeder resigned citing family reasons a few weeks ago, and a pair of interim coaches took over the program. And most of the assistants have departed the program. Now the Hemet Police Department has turned over some information to the DA about a possible misdemeanor battery charge, or what's going on with this?
Right. Hemet Police were called to the school where there was a report of a misdemeanor battery is pretty much the extent of the injury that we're being told. It was pretty minor, but it was on campus, and it was before school started. Police interviewed Schroeder, they interviewed witnesses at the scene, and a couple weeks later, they prepared a case and sent it to the district attorney's office recommending a possible charge of misdemeanor battery. Now, because Schroeder was not cited or arrested, it was strictly the investigation course.
Right. So the DA will have a few days or weeks to determine that that's going to be the way they're going to go with that as well. Coach Schroeder now actually teaching, I believe, at Hemet High School in their PE department as well. And one of those unfortunate stories where he had the program in the right direction, and then now it's sudden departure. So Tahquitz playing West Valley tonight was losing early on as well. All right, well, John Asbury, good to have you in, talking a little high school football and some unfortunate news, unfortunately. But John covering cops and courts out in the Hemet area and all over Riverside County as well. All right, let me move on to a couple other things we've got now. Let me find my place of what I want to talk about next. And Dave, on a lighter side of things, real quick here, speaking of Hemet, I was called out by the Hemet High athletic director because he was furious with me that I didn't include Hemet High Stadium in my best stadiums pick. I picked Banning. And we can run through this here real quick again for all of you out there who wanted to see this one. And I also picked Colton, which I do love, who's playing Cajon tonight. I picked Ramona, which is going to be brand new. That's the old dirt field that they played on when Dave Zink went to high school. I like Murrieta Valley. Now, you don't like Murrieta Valley, and Dave Anderson, the AD there at Hemet, didn't like it either. Fontana, classic Steeler Stadium. Paloma Valley, which we really liked.
You really liked.
I liked it a lot. The press box was filthy. Temecula Valley is beautiful.
Yes.
And it could be even better. Big Bear.
Can't beat it.
Can't beat it. And Newton T. Bass up in Apple Valley. And,
you can beat it.
And you can't beat that one. West Valley, #1 stadium.
Cool stadium.
In my opinion. I'd probably include Murrieta Mesa in there. Hemet High School is probably the second largest stadium in the area behind Murrieta Mesa now. So that's an interesting one as well. All right. Let's talk about a couple of schedule changes for the next couple of weeks. And those are interesting as well because the Week 10 has changed significantly for everybody. So if you're going to be tracking games as we are, there's a couple big ones. Roosevelt and Centennial will play on a Thursday night now, November 11th. And Rev and Miller, which is Miller's the home game out of that one. I'm not sure who the Roosevelt Centennial one is. Who that's home for. That's moving to Thursday, and so is the Rev Miller game. That'll be at Miller as well. Okay, contest. The contest, you pick them. Right now, interesting stuff, Dave Zink. We have got basically this week, 25 games always, and 18 games have been picked either 90% or more.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So the fans really they're not really torn between anybody. They just like people. They have significant favorites as well.
Well, a lot of these leagues, it's easier to do it that way based on the fact that you have the haves and the have-nots in every league, and it makes it easy to pick. Doesn't always come out that way.
So let's run through this real quick on how fans are picking right now. And let's look at the Centennial, 100% over Santiago. That's probably going to become a reality. Norco was 99% over King. Poly, 86-13.
And losing.
And Drexler just came back.
Down 2 touchdowns.
Drexler just came back. Does he have a score?
Well, we had a score before he left. It was 35-21. It was 28-21.
Right.
And while he was walking out, North scored again to give it a 35-21.
I think earlier in the week, I think that game was like 50-50.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So then we go.
There we go.
Roosevelt Corona.
95% for Roosevelt. Great Oak Murrieta Valley. Murrieta Valley winning that one 95% to 4%. Vista Murrieta 99%. Temecula Valley. Now Temecula Valley gave a little bit a tighter game as well. And 100% picking Chaparral over Murrieta Mesa. That's probably our one lock of the night. Hate to say that, but that probably is. 98% picking Moreno Valley over Ramona. La Sierra 93% over Valley View. That one changed a little bit too because it was actually a little bit close. It was like 77-22 at one point. And Rancho Verde 100% basically over Vista del Lago. The Cajon Colton one didn't change much. 24-21 final score. That's our tiebreaker game.
The average is 24-20. I actually made a mistake on that.
24-20. So
it was 24-20.
It moved a little bit to 4 points.
Yeah. Carter 89%.
89% picking Carter. Interesting stuff. Sanji, which is kind of on a roll right now, 97% pick them. San Jacinto Beaumont. San Jacinto the lead in that game early on. 93% pick San Jacinto. Hemet Citrus Hill. 100% pick Citrus Hill. No surprise. Hemet struggling. Tahquitz West Valley. This was close at one point. At one point, Tahquitz had a majority of the picks. It went 72% at the end towards West Valley. And Heritage, Dave Zink, 35 zip.
And they won.
And they won. They did win. What was the final score on that one?
Yeah, it was big. You'd have to ask Jeff. Jeff knows.
All right. He's gonna jump on. 35-7.
It was Heritage 35-7.
35-7 Heritage.
So we'll put that one on the board. 35-7 Heritage on the win as well.
And then you got Paris and Lakeside. And Paris, there's the 1%ers that are picking Paris over Lakeside.
Right.
And going back to your point earlier about Paris' program kind of having a dip there, there's to show you a brand new school, only been around a couple years, drawing from other schools, so it's not like it's in a new area with the whole new population, and they're odds-on favorites. I mean, basically everybody believes that Lakeside's going to beat Paris.
Okay. So. And then less some citrus banning. That was 100% at one point, and then it kind of changed at the end.
And then Rim 88% over Rubidoux.
Right.
And 99% pick Summit. We got Norte Vista 98% are picking Norte Vista. We got 100% of the Kaiser Patriot, which wouldn't surprise me. Redlands 99% Ukaipa. And then, oops, we're back
There's
to
Jim Stahn.
Yeah, Jim Stahn again. Sorry about that.
Okay. So here's Drexler to come edit his video. Young Drexler.
And then we bounce back into another one. Why don't you go to camera one, Lou?
Camera one. I'm going to go back to camera one. All right. So that's some of our stuff that we got going right now, and we got more for you as well. Dave brought a good point. We were going to talk about how people were doing. We've had some programs that we've seen some significant erosions on, Dave, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. But let's go back to Drexler. Who won your game?
North was up 35-21.
North was up, or Poly was up?
North 35-21 to start of the fourth quarter.
North was up over Poly 35-21. I thought you said Poly was up 35-21.
No, I said North. I said North was leading Poly 35-21.
I totally missed that one. I totally blanked on that one.
Apparently.
It's so shocking that I can't get over it. So that's good though, because North would kind of erase the stigma of that of a winless season at this point. So that's exciting news as well. All right, Randy Leva, how are you doing tonight?
My mic's not on, so I haven't been talking.
Is your mic on now?
Sure. Mic's on.
Mic is on.
Can you hear me?
I don't know. I haven't heard. Let me listen to see if your mic is on. Your mic is. Go ahead, Randy. Are you on?
My mic is not on.
Your mic is not on. Okay. All right. Well, we'll come back to Randy in a minute. Come back to me. Dave, let's show that commercial we did last week from Fritz Ford, and let's come back here in a minute from HS Game Time Live. V8 in it, and lots of extras as well, including thanks a lot. Heated seats, as Dave Zink found.
See you next week.
All right, this is a 2010 Ford Mustang GT, and we took it out for a test drive. We'll show you some of that footage here in a minute, but remember, this has got a V8 in it, and lots of extras as well, including heated seats, as Dave Zink found out here on our test drive. And it's also got some great options as well, but of course it's 5-speed, full power, unbelievable handling. It's got custom wheels. It's got a custom exhaust system made by Gibson as well. The racing stripes are part of the whole package. And if you were to buy a Mustang here from Fritz Ford, they have a whole slew of options they can provide for you. Their whole game here is outfitting and customizing the Ford Mustang for your preferences as well. So come by here to Fritz Ford or visit us at fritzford.com.
All right, Lewis.
All right, everybody, we're back with more from HS Game Time Live, and we've got a lot going on tonight. We're talking about some of the final scores. We got the big one right now: Heritage beating Paloma Valley 35-7, and we'll come back over here and talk a little bit more. 35-7 for Heritage. Paloma Valley, I thought for sure they were going to have a better result than what they did, and it's. Make sure that let's have Jeff's turned off from.
I think Paloma Valley hoped that they were going to have a little bit of a closer game too.
Right, right. Kaiser beating Patriot 49-3 right now, and a couple other scores that we've got. Let me see here. Let's see. I'll go back to my scoreboard list here. You know, I don't think we have internet, Dave.
One second, Lewis. I'm checking.
All right.
Keep on going.
Okay. Right. So some of the scores that we do not have, I have no ability to see scores.
Okay.
So let me figure out something here real quick. Let me turn this back on and.
I'm not getting internet myself, Lewis. Hopefully we're out of the building.
I've got scores now. Okay, we're back on there. 49 to, nope, I don't. I don't.
All right, well, let's...
Oh, here we go. Okay, Kaiser beating Patriot 49-0. Heritage over Paloma Valley 35-7. Cajon is now up on Colton 22-20 in the fourth quarter. That would be a significant one. We still see Vista Murrieta and Temecula Valley 20-13 at halftime, and a couple other ones, Centennial and Santiago 27-6 at the half. Beaumont and San Jacinto 10-3, and Rancho Verde and Vista Del Lago 28-14 at the half. Not a lot of changes right now in the scores we got right now. If you are in the chat room and like to join us for some conversation. Remember that we do ask you to be respectful of your fellow people out there and be respectful of us. And we'd like to get your opinions and get scores from you guys as well as we move forward throughout the night here on this week 7 of high school football. Okay, so some of the games that obviously with you look at how we're tracking right now, North beating Poly, that pretty much will take Poly out of things for any kind of playoff hope at that point, right, Dave?
Yeah, pretty much so.
That surprised you a little bit? I mean, there was some speculation that North was.
I'd like to say that I'm surprised, but it's been a tough season for Poly.
Right.
It's been a tough season for North. North's. I mean, you put it this way. Let's give North a little bit of credit here. They've gone through a lot of injuries,
right?
And they've been pretty much decimated. I'm pretty sure that they're playing a lot of their freshman, sophomore players because they don't have enough. I've heard that the injuries are really bad at North, but tonight they're able to put it together, and it looks like they're going to beat Poly. Now I don't know that game's over, but looks like it might be coming to an end here.
All right, King and Norco. Norco looks like they're handling King at this moment. From our initial things, Santiago Centennial. The big issue is Centennial going to have a big game before the playoffs? Will they have a big game during the playoffs? Is there that much separation between them and the rest of the division?
Well, if you talk to Matt Logan, they've got every week's a big game, but they do have Norco on the horizon, and do they not play Roosevelt on the horizon?
Yes, they do.
So they've got
week 10.
They've got
the last
phone call ring coming through too.
My God, hold on one second. Let me
put
it back to you. I got it. There, Lois. I'm back to you.
Who is calling us at this moment?
I have no.
If it's not there, don't worry about it at this moment. So we won't take the call. But let's move on. So if you look at the Southwestern League now, Vista Murrieta getting what appears to be a tighter game against Temecula Valley. Chaparral is playing at Murrieta Mesa. Murrieta Valley and Great Oak. Murrieta Valley separating from them from their game as well. And then of course in the Elsinore was shutting out Temescal Canyon down in the Sun Belt League. Canyon Springs and Arlington. Arlington won that one last night. We got to get the final on that one. What was the final on that one, Dave? Remember? No. Oh, your phone's going crazy.
41-27.
We've got a phone call, Lewis.
Okay.
And that's the Arlington.
I don't know if it's going to come up because I can't. I don't hear any volume right now, but I'm going to give it a try. All right. It's HS Game Time Live. It's David Zink. Who am I talking with? HS Game Time Live. Who am I talking with?
Hey,
oh, hey, Nels.
Hey, you want a quick rundown on the Marietta Valley victory or not?
Right, yeah, let's hear
Sure,
it.
we'd love to hear it.
All right, well, the Nighthawks picked off 3 passes. They returned 2 for touchdowns. And Andrew Blake threw 3 touchdown passes. And they kind of romped in the second half. They ended up winning 42-13.
42-13. Does that surprise you a little bit, Nels? I mean, it's interesting to see how much improvement Marietta Valley has made this season. I mean, what do you think of them?
Well, I've seen them 3 times now in the past 4 weeks, and I would say that they'll give Vista a good game. I say those are the top 2 teams in the Southwestern League. I think it's going to be real fascinating because based on what I've seen, Temecula Valley, Chaparral, Great Oak, they're all right about the same level. I think Marietta Valley and Vista will be a real good game, but I think they've separated themselves from the pack.
Did you know that Vista Marietta was getting a game from Temecula Valley tonight? It was a tight one.
No.
Yeah, it was like 20-13 at halftime. So the Golden Bears came to play tonight.
The Golden Bears are on the comeback.
There we go. Very very nice.
Good to see the program go.
All right, Nels. Hey, thanks for calling, man. We'll talk to you later. We'll see your footage later.
We'll throw some highlights at you in a little while.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thanks,
That's Nels
Nels.
Jensen. He's shooting video tonight from the Marietta Valley game against Great Oak. His son is shooting the Temecula Valley Vista Marietta game down at Temecula Valley High School. As far as video highlights tonight, we expect video highlights from Santiago Centennial, King, Norco, Vista Marietta, Temecula Valley, Chaparral, Marietta Mesa. Let me look at my board here. We got footage from Poly North from Drexler, who's working on that right now. And Beaumont San Jacinto, Dave Kaufman's out there for that one. We also have footage from Heritage and Paloma Valley. And Cajon Colton, as we speak, Jennifer Whitaker will probably be coming back as well. So you will see plenty of action tonight as we move forward throughout the evening. Okay, hey Dave, since we don't have a lot of scores. I think we had a little bit of an internet issue there that was preventing us from getting scores in. But I want to thank a couple of things that I want to talk about the eroding programs. If you want to jump on that one as well, and let's look at that for a second, Dave. Let's go to the first one that we have, and you and I can banter back and forth for a minute on this one. And basically, the idea here is, and that's the.
Sorry, I kind of got backwards there.
Right.
We got someone on the phone. Want to take it?
Yep, we'll take it.
Say just Game Time Live. Who are we talking with?
Hey, this is Quentin calling from the Cajon Colton game.
All right.
Hey, Quentin. We talked to you last week, didn't we?
He's gonna be happy.
Yeah.
He's gonna be happy.
Hey, it's over. It's over. Cajon 29, Colton 20.
That's the big win.
29-20, Cajon.
Wow.
Congratulations.
We pulled it off, baby. We pulled it off.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Great win.
You called your shot too, Quentin.
Huh?
You called it.
Yeah, well, hey, these kids played their heart out, man. We made a few mistakes, but, man, they came to play. They wanted this one. And, hey, my son played a heck of a lot tonight.
Well,
Wow.
that's good to hear, Quentin. Congratulations. I guess you're in the driver's seat now, huh?
Well, we got a Royal next week. We can't, we got to still come out and play. But, this is a big win for our team.
So the final score again was 29-20.
29-20.
29-20. Cajon putting themselves in the driver's seat for a league championship with a big win at Colton on the road tonight. Quinn, thanks so much for calling. We appreciate it, man.
All right, you guys
Have a good night.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, there you go, Lewis.
That's a huge one.
Yeah, let's go back. Sorry about that phone call,
No,
but
that's all
let's
right.
go back to what we were talking about.
All right.
You were talking about stuck in a rut. We were talking about this week, and
Right.
we put together a list of teams that we feel are stuck in a rut.
And it's an interesting list because a lot of these programs are old programs, and these programs have had history before. And let's just look at this one real quick here. Let's take that one graphic on the bottom down for a second here, because we've got, first off, let's start with Parrish. Right now, they're in the midst of an 18-game Sun Belt League losing streak. Their last playoff appearance was back in 2002. They're 2-22 in the Sun Belt League since 2003. This is a program that made the CIF semifinals in 1973 and 1982. And Dave, you and I in the 80s remember this program definitively
Right.
as a very strong one, and just really, really struggling. And we were talking earlier about some of the reasons why there is so much erosion at Paris.
Well, I mean, not to mention the fact that when they were in their heyday, they just like the Fontanas, the Hemmets, and all the other schools around that they are the only school in their area for a great distance, which leaves them with all the talent in that area.
Right.
And just like Hemet and Fontana and Rialto and all the other areas that had big schools that have been split up into a bunch of smaller high schools, it takes its effect. And I think that's the biggest. I think beyond that, there's not really. I mean, Paris just had all the talent in the valley there.
And I think really the opening of Rancho Verde was one of the actually the tough parts for them as well, because Rancho Verde was built by Paris Union School District, or the high school district, and then Valverde unified, much like what Menifee's going to do probably eventually here, and take Paloma and take Heritage as well.
Right.
So interesting to see if Paris get themselves out of this rut and do some great things.
And they're one of the oldest high schools in the area, and they're of a proud tradition, and you would hope that they're going to come back at some point.
You never like to see a program stuck in that spot.
No, you like to see them, especially for the kids, because the kids don't know anything from history. They just want to play football and win. Okay, but moving forward, we got to go ahead to your former
school, right?
Former school, Hemet.
Right. And Hemet's on this list is sort of an anomaly, because this has only been really a 3-year rut, and they've been up and down, since 1996. They've had some great teams. They've had some league championships teams. They've been in the playoffs 6 or 7 times. But over the last 3 years, they've been 6-10 in league play, in Sunbelt League play. 9-27 overall. The last playoff trip was in 2006. But over the last year or so, 3 of the program's worst defeats, 3 of the 10 worst defeats in the school's program or the school's history have been in this period. And they haven't played. This is a program that's only won, I think, two first-round playoff games since 1971. Maybe it's 1970, right around that period. And they last played for a CIF championship back in 1965. So sort of a surprising situation for Hemet. And of course, they are 1-5 right now. Probably they could be losing to Citrus Hill. We don't know yet at this point, but a lot of us expected them to lose Citrus Hill tonight. This is a program that has only had 1 winless season in its history. So let's move on to our next one, Pacific.
And this one is, they've shut the school down at one point. So,
right.
Pacific's that's a real tough situation.
And John Murphy made a good point about this, too, that this school has a lot of deeply rooted problems, and that obviously football is the least of their priorities. They have a lot of academic issues as well. But right now on the football field, they just can't get anything going right now. And we saw them, at the Paloma Valley passing tournament. They beat Hemet. They looked good in the passing league. I thought, maybe, Pacific's going to get things righted. But they don't have the depth of the strength to do that. They played for a CIF title in the 1990s when they had Joe Weber and they had Chuck Pedersen as their coach. They got an 11-game losing streak right now in the San Andreas League. The last playoff appearance was 2005. They're 2-43 overall since 2005. All right, Fontana, well-documented problems. 6-49 in the CBL since 2002. Last playoff appearance in 2003. They could have its 5th winless season in the CBL in 7 years. This is a program that was the gold standard of excellence.
And again, another situation. Look, 2002. Since 2002, look how they've struggled.
Right.
When did those schools start opening? Late 90s, first part of the this new millennium here. So we were talking about schools draining kids away from the program, and eventually it just becomes another. Riverside, the city of Riverside has dealt with this. Look at the every school in the city of Riverside. Not that there are bad. There's no head and shoulders above everybody else's program. Everybody else has got pretty much the same pool of kids.
Right.
So I don't even know how to deal with that. But
okay,
and then the Eisenhower Eagles.
Yeah, crazy. Another one it hasn't had as much problems as Fontana, but this year they've been just horrendous at this point. Their last playoff appearance in 2002, they CBL title, and they're 8-20 in the CBL since 2006. All right, let's move on to our next one. Ramona, and this is one that you and I both remember from the 80s as well. They won CIF titles, co-championships in 1982 and 1989. 35-70-1 in the 2000s. Last playoff appearance was in 2005. Last winning season, however, was in 2001. And before that, it was 1993 when John Tyree was the coach there. So, this is a program that has had great tradition and just can't get it right.
It's been a long, steady slide, though, for 15 years.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. What did Jeff write on the board there?
He wrote a score in there.
Rubidoux update.
Well, look at this. Well, just by chance, we're talking about Rubidoux right here.
Look at that. Jeff came over. That's great. Jeff came over and talked to us. Says Rubidoux.
So let's transition to Rubidoux. How'd they do tonight?
So Rubidoux wins 28-7, right, Randy?
28-7.
On the road.
And that was unscripted.
Right, unscripted.
And that's at Rim?
That's at Rim of the World, right?
That's impressive.
That's impressive. So Rubidoux has put themselves in position to kind of erase this history that we're talking about right now. This is a program that was 17 and 65 in the 2000s. The school was closed by construction. They rebuilt the whole school. They had kids at Patriot and everything. Last playoff appearance was in 2001, but they were 3-8 that year. This is a program that Leo Bruhard and Wayne Cochran really built into one of the best programs around, and they went to the finals in 1981, 1995. But maybe, just maybe, they're coming back. That would be kind of fun to see Rubidoux come back, because that's a great program.
Well, and actually, you said 17 and 65. They're 17 and 56 in the 2000s. Right. And the interesting thing is, there's been a lot of real quality players that have come out of Rubidoux High School in the last 30 years.
Yeah, TCH 55 noting has not been that good since the Knight brothers all played there.
Well, and the Edwards went to Harupa
Right.
Valley, and you
Right.
had this kind of split up. Again, another campus that was split up by multiple high schools being put in, starting with Harupa Valley and then Patriot. I mean, the first nail in the coffin was when Harupa Valley was built. They siphoned off a bunch of kids out in the Mariloma area over to Harupa Valley, and then the last nail in the coffin, at least to where we're at right now, would have been Patriot opening up, them shutting down the school, moving all the kids to Patriot, and then refurbishing the school, and then bringing in a whole new freshman,
Right.
sophomore class, and they've just started getting senior classes back there again. But our last one, let's just go to our last one real quick. Arrowhead Christian Academy.
Yeah,
You and I know the
Yep.
Finn Frocks and the
Right.
whole deal. This is a great football tradition for a period of time there.
They won championships 1996, 1997, 2001. I believe one of them was a state championship as well. They're in the double wing. They had great success, but since then they are 2 and 18 in the league since 2004. They had a 14-game league losing streak. Last playoff appearances in 2008 and 6 and 5 as well. So there we go. That's our Stuck in a Rut feature for the night. And again, not being stuck in a rut right now is Rubidoux, which has moved out and now possibly in contention for a showdown with Notre Dame. Who do you have a score on Notre Dame?
Yeah, Notre Dame won 42-0.
Wow. All right, Randy, what kind of scores do we have right now?
Randy, that's a final 42-0.
We have the update for the Elsinore game.
Okay.
24-10, Elsinore.
Elsinore wins that one on the road at Temescal Canyon.
Yes, and they just put that story in the paper about Mike Shepard yesterday. I feel like that always happens.
What they get
the luck thing.
That a positive story and then positive energy.
I'm not saying Pauley is going to lose, but they are losing right now, and they just had that story in the paper about the Wayne Silva.
Is that a final now, by the way? What made you come back, Drexler? Was it just out of hand, or you? It was out of hand.
No, it was 3/4 done.
Right, 3/4. Oh, I told him 3/4 of the way.
North scored when I was leaving, so they scored within like 5 plays of the fourth quarter.
Right. 23-13, Redlands beats Yucaipa. That's a final score. And we mentioned the Elsinore to Temescal Canyon won 24-10. Hemet and Tahakowitz, that was a good one. San Jacinto has now crushed Beaumont 37-16. David Irving, an interception, and a 73-yard return for a touchdown in the second half sparked San Jacinto to a 37-16 Mountain Pass League win. And that is now San Jacinto's 6th consecutive win against the Cougars. I was a little surprised that the game might have not been a little bit closer, but it's a big win for San Jacinto. Kaiser winning 49-0 over Patriot. They get yet another shutout, Randy. I think that's their 5th shutout they've got on the season right now.
Is it?
Yes, it is. I think it is.
I think it is too.
All right, 23-14, the final on the Yucaipa game as well. Yes, Dave.
Hey, Lewis, so why don't we just let people in the chat room know that we're going to need a little help with the Pauley North game.
Right.
That we didn't actually have that covered. We do have video of it that Drexler took, but he left after the third quarter. Obviously,
I should have told Drexler that
he should have stayed to the end. Yeah,
right.
Way to go, Lewis.
I completely blew that one. But
at any rate, we need if we can. I'm going to try and get a hold of some of my
friends.
You
know what? Here's my 2 failings for the night. I'm completely dyslexic. It's KMS. What's the guy's name? KMS. Where are you at? KMS 00. Yeah, I'm dyslexic. And you're right. And I totally forgot to tell Drexler to stay for the whole game for Pauley North because we don't have anybody at the game. So if you're in the chat room, let us know how that game finishes. Tahakowitz versus West Valley. All we know is that West Valley was leading that one. That was D. Howard 2493 was asking as well. The scores are starting to trickle in, but on the board right now that we look at right now, if you go back to camera 3 for a minute, Dave, on our big board here, we keep an eye on that one. You've got some interesting games here. The biggest one of the night, I think, right now is obviously Cajon and Colton with that 29-20 victory over Colton on the road. And that's a huge one for Cajon. Puts him in position to win his San Andreas League title, I think, for the first time in quite a while. It'll be interesting to we do our league reports after the 11 o'clock hour to see how that looks for them. We'll get some more for there as soon as Drexler gets done with his video.
Well, I think Quentin was correct in saying that they've still got a couple teams to go through.
Well, they got
Royal Valley being one of them.
Right. I think they've already beaten. I'll have to look at their records here in a minute, but let me look at the schedules and we'll figure that out here. But and then the Heritage one, Dave Zink 7-0, baby. Heritage out of hand.
Absolutely, and doing well in the polls.
Okay, we have a final now, Randy. Which one do you have now for the
Vista Marietta 33-22 over Temecula.
Closer game.
That ended a lot closer than I thought it was.
Yeah, a lot closer than what we anticipated. Oh, Jeff Prenny wants to come on, Dave.
Temecula Valley actually closed within 27-22 late in that game. Then attempted an onside kick, failed to get that, and Vista went down and scored with a minute 30 left to put it away.
Wow. So that means that basically Temecula Valley gave Vista everything they could handle.
Absolutely, and I think that speaks to the Southwestern League. It speaks to, the improvement of Temecula Valley. It speaks to the fact that Vista Marietta has no easy games in this well, and they may have been, I would never say that a Coley Candela coach team would look past anybody, but maybe just a little bit. Hey, in the Cajon situation here, okay, they have to play at Arroyo Valley next week. Not easy to play there. They got to play Carter at home on the 5th, and then they close out the season with San Bernardino. So right now, Cajon very much in the driver's seat as well. Where was in those rankings, Dave? For what was that, the Central Division?
Yeah.
Where's Holton ranked in that show right now?
I don't want to do. Let me do something real quick. I can put it up for you. Let me just get a second. By the way, now that I have a second, it was North 35-21. That's a final.
35-21 North. So a huge win for Mark Paredes and his program over there over the Poly Bears. You're probably weeping over there, aren't you, Dave?
Not at all.
It is what it is, man. It is what it is, man. You know what? You know what's interesting about that, Dave, is that after UCLA got crushed by Oregon last night, you're just moving through it, man.
Wait a minute.
Going through it,
you give me props because I called that. You were talking about a tight football game, and I told you it was going to be an absolute blowout.
At one point, you called me in the middle of, or you told me. I texted you. I said, "Yikes." And then you said, no, I called it 45-3, and I was earlier in the night you did say it.
No, I said 40. They'd score more than 45 points. I didn't say what it would be. I figured it'd be a big score. I didn't hope it'd be 60, but
right.
But here, real quick, here's the Central Division right there, Lewis. We got Rancho Verde number 1, La Quinta number 2. This is going into this week.
And Cajon is not even ranked.
Colton 3, Palm Springs 4, Arlington 5, Chino, Palm Desert, Rialto, Colony, and then La Sierra. And the interesting one about this poll, Lewis, is this poll, except for the bottom 3 spots, 8, 9, and 10, stayed the same.
Here comes Jeff Perney now with more.
We have a Centennial final.
Okay.
Did you get that yet?
No, we don't.
Centennial 69, Santiago 13.
There you go. And another one.
Let me throw a couple stats at you. Barrington Collins, 131 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. Romello Goodman, 139 yards rushing and a touchdown, and Michael Eubank, 128 yards rushing.
And they probably played through the half of the third quarter. It'd be interesting to see the line score.
What was Goodman's first name?
Romello.
Centennial scored 42 points in the second half.
Wow.
Okay, and
I have to sit down for that one. So that's just ridiculous.
Lewis. So can we go back to a conversation we've had many times, maybe revisit this again?
You don't want to have this conversation.
Kind of go through this again. No, I think we do. The thing is that what we want to do is have this conversation, and this time I want you to admit that it's not surprising. The things they do are not surprising. They keep doing it. I mean, it's
I agree. We have a call, by the way.
Oh, so.
Who's calling us?
Hold on.
Who's interrupting our conversation?
HS Game Time Live. This is David. Who am I talking with?
Tony.
I'm sorry. Who is this?
Tony.
Hey, Tony. So what game were you at?
Hey, Tony. Mesa game.
At the Mesa game. So what was the final of that game?
70-7 Chaparral.
Chaparral 70-7. Wow. Give us a little bit of your assessment of that game.
Well, Leach did not let up at all. The starters played most of the game.
And it sounded pretty rough, huh?
Yeah, Leach actually went for an onside kick, and it was 49-7.
Ouch. I guess they're trying little payback for the Vista loss, huh?
Rancho Verde.
Yep.
Wow. That's really tough. So was there any highlight of note for Merida Mesa?
They moved the ball pretty well. I thought they were in that game early. They just stayed it out quickly, but their offense looked pretty good.
So really, it's just a matter of this school just getting their program off the ground, and another school beating up on them. It sounds like.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, hey, Tony, thank you so much for calling in. I'd like to hear from you again next week. Hope you have a good evening.
You too.
All right. Thank you very much.
Well, there you go, Lewis. Okay, now back to what I was talking about. The fact that, every week you seem to be amazed at the things that Centennial does. And every week they keep doing the exact
Okay, and here's my thinking. Here's my thinking on this, okay?
Okay.
In the era of large comprehensive high schools, right? In an area like Corona,
Yeah.
where you have, in Norco, where you have, 5 high schools in the district now?
Right.
And you have kids that transfer all over the place. In the cyclical nature of sports, for a public high school to be that successful is, I think, year in and year out, it can be a little surprising. I think it can.
And you're sticking to it.
I'm sticking to it, baby.
You're sticking to that argument. Okay,
Right.
I can respect that.
Because let me point out the.
I told you it has to do with
Right.
several factors, and we've gone over these numerous times on various nights. I'm sure we're boring people to death
Right.
with it, but by the way, I just got a final. Norco 35, King 15.
Norco 35-15. So pretty much we've got the whole. Well, we're still waiting for Corona Roosevelt, but we've got the Big 8 now shaking out pretty nicely. And 35-15 Norco over King. That moves Norco to 3-1 in the Big 8 and 5-2 overall. King now 2-2, but and 4-3, but not done yet. They still have a chance of making the playoffs as well. Santiago, by the way, I don't think has ever beaten Centennial. I have them Centennial's 8-0 against them since 2003. In 2007 when Centennial won the championship, they beat them in the finals, I think it was, and they won 69-7 in the regular season in that game as well. They've beaten Centennial. Centennial in the last 5 meetings now: 42-7, 69-7, 42-30, 52-21, and then 69-13 tonight. Where's that? Can you throw that graphic up again from the?
Yes, that is a true statement.
Santiago
has never beaten Centennial at football.
And you're very pleased with that, aren't you?
Well, yes, because it's Santiago. They try to be our rival, but I
they
beg
can't.
to differ.
They
This
can't,
is not
right.
a rival for football.
Okay, so we'll have some video footage of that one as well. It'll be interesting to see. As Jeff Prenny mentioned, all the Barrington Collins played tonight, had 4 touchdowns, 131 yards. Romello Goodman had over 100 yards. Michael Eubank had over 100 yards. Crazy as well. Give us a call, 951-260. What's that number again? 0474. I can't remember it. I have
951-260-0474. If you got a score or you got a question, please give us a call.
I think that puts them over the 50-some point. It's like, what is that now? Like almost 55 points a game now.
I want to split that and throw that at you real quick.
Throw it at me again.
So we're going to go back to this one, and let me just go back to. Got to remember where we're at with that. It was text one, yeah. Oops, we shouldn't be doing that. Let me throw back to me for a minute.
Just throw the text up, and we'll talk.
I got to go to the. Hold on, just one second.
So that's okay. Let's look at while Dave figures that out. Let's go through the San Andreas or the San Andreas League. Okay, so with 69 points, 50.3 points per game going into tonight, they scored another 69. Go to the next slide over, and that's where you see the day by day or the week by week schedule, and there.
You want to see what?
No, I want to go back to the next slide, which is the week by week. And so there you go. You see, 48, 44, 45, 66, 52, 49. I think in that championship year, I think the only time they scored in 2008, the only time they scored 60 points was in the first round of the CIF playoffs against Yucaipa. And that was the only time. So you've seen this humongous, and they also defensively, they're probably playing much better defense they are. Look at that. The most points they've allowed was to King, and that was kind of after the fact.
Want to give Coach Logan a call?
Let's give him a call after 10 o'clock and see what he says. If you'd like to call us, though, we would love to hear from you tonight. And we got some other things for you. I don't know. Fans, what do you guys think? How good is Centennial? I mean, is there anybody in the Inland Division that can touch them? Let's look at those Inland Division rankings for a minute, Dave, if you've got a chance. Yeah, KMS 00, who's called me dyslexic, stupid, and And Ignorant basically says that there's no way that's going to touch them. All right, here's the Inland Division. There are some surprises in the Inland Division, but if you look at that Inland Division, it's not going to be that surprising as well. Randy, we've got Centennial 1, Vista Murrieta 2, Cucamonga 3, Roosevelt 4, Norco 5, Upland 6, Claremont 7, Chino Hills 8, Rev is 9, Redlands is 10. Cucamonga has lost, I believe, in the division to somebody, and I can't remember who it is off the. I don't think there's. I think Centennial is the only unbeaten team in that division, and we mentioned Chino Hills, which already lost to Santiago. I don't know who's gonna challenge them in that division. I don't know who's gonna be up there. Yeah, KMS 00 has a good point too. We really should Chaparral be in there somewhere? Is Chaparral a top 10 team?
No.
They're not a top 10 team.
No.
Okay, you saw them. We saw them together.
I saw them. Hey, they're a nice football team. I don't find them a top 10. Yeah, come on, Lewis. Could you honestly tell me that they could move the football?
Do you think
they struggle to move the football against Vista?
If you're forecasting the Inland Division playoffs tomorrow, it's like Centennial. Well, here's what makes the Inland Division sort of interesting, right? There's Centennial, and then it's just like you have no idea who's going to be playing them. I mean, I couldn't tell you right now. I've seen Vista Murrieta. I love I love Coley. I think he's a great coach, but I think that they're any week they can be beaten. I don't think Rancho Cucamonga can handle Centennial. Redlands Rev, they can't handle Centennial right now. These are all teams that you could see into the champion. Claremont, Upland are sort of interesting. Upland's already lost to Norco. It could be Norco.
That's where I think your bogey is right there. I really do. I think that maybe I don't know. It just
you just said my bogey.
Yeah, your bogey.
All right, just thinking. I'm just thinking.
So the thing is that the one that can get you, the
right.
bogey. So
right. Okay, I see what you're saying.
At any rate, back to my point.
Right.
Beyond Norco, it's just going to take a team with a good defense.
Right.
That's going to be. You have to obviously, in order to beat them, you're going to contain them. Right now, they're averaging 50 points a game.
Right.
And no one's been able to contain them. So I would say that I guess if you're writing down a short list of things you got to do to compete with Centennial, number one on that list is shut down their offenses to some degree. You got to at least allow them to score no more than 20, 25 points.
Right.
Because if they're scoring 50 a game, it's hard to keep up with.
It'll be interesting in the bowl because it looks like Mission Viejo might run the table, I guess, and how they figure that whole thing out. If Centennial goes 14-0, they with the big win over Mater Dei, and the fact they play in an 18 league, you got to take them. They got to put them somewhere, either in the open or you got to put them in the.
They'll get a raw deal. They'll get a raw deal.
You think they'll get a raw deal?
Yeah.
I haven't looked at even the.
Despite it's just the way it seems. Things always seem to happen. I remember.
How would that sit with the Centennial Nation, Randy? Would the Centennial Nation be?
I was getting. He read my mind. Whoever was it, Zink, who brought up that Norco would be the threat for Centennial a bit because of matchup reasons too.
Like what kind of matchup reasons?
The matchup. Let's look at the quarterbacks.
Right.
Do you think Gerhardt is in Eubanks League?
I don't think anybody's in Eubanks League right now in the Inland Empire. I think Eubank is truly special. And the other thing that's to me about Eubank is that he's got nobody looking at him right now at all.
He just got another offer this week.
Yeah, but like what? Utah State?
San Jose State.
San Jose State and Utah State. This kid is. They're gonna get I think they're gonna get a surprise out of him.
Is there something about him we don't know?
I don't know. If you watch the separation,
physically he looks amazing.
Right. Roosevelt has taken out Corona 56-35, by the way, in more Big 8 League action as Jeff Prinny comes in and updates the board.
As Norco, Centennial, and Roosevelt just pile high at the top of the curve.
What are those scores combined? 69.
I'm serious.
56.
That is, they're just piling it on there.
Right. It's now. Look at that. You've got Centennial unbeaten. It's gonna be interesting to see
how. To
answer
your question, Rancho Cucamonga did have a loss, and it's interesting because it was to Redlands, another team on the top.
So Cucamonga, who's ranked 3rd, loses to 10th ranked Redlands. I don't know. It's gonna be that's gonna be. I would say Norco is probably the number 2 team in that division right now.
And it's best to be that way because they know them the best.
Right.
Logan and Gerhardt definitely know each other very well. Interestingly enough, that's 160 points those 3 teams put up.
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of like what was it last week or whatever? What was it? The Sunkist League had all those crazy scores or something like that.
Got a call real quick here.
All right.
Why don't you jump on this, Lewis?
All right.
And grab some video.
This is HS Game Time Live. Who's this?
Hey, this is Rob with Vista Marietta game.
Hey, Rob, how are you? So you guys got, or Temecula Valley really did a nice job tonight.
Yeah, Vista didn't look that good. It looked like they'd never played on real turf in the last year or so.
Right.
They were pretty sloppy.
Yeah, is that the only grass field left in the Southwestern League? Oh, I guess Chaparral has grass. Has grass too. Yeah. So that probably is a big, slows you down a little bit.
Yeah, the guys were, there was we fumbled the ball twice in the first quarter down, when we had potential to score. But, definitely Temecula has a better team this year. You got to give them credit. They're putting together a good program, maybe a year or two away. But I was going to comment about what you guys were talking about with Centennial. And
right.
I've been a Vista fan for a long time, and I would have to agree. I don't think Vista's no way he's going to be able to touch Centennial. I think they have a chance against Norco. I know everybody wrote them off last year, but it depends which team shows up. That seems to be Vista's trend this year. One day they looked excellent, and the next game they look like they are struggling.
It was interesting when I looked at the footage from when they played Etiwanda, and Etiwanda is a very good football team that played a very difficult schedule. And if you look at the footage from that, we're only judging off the clips that we get in. But Vista Marietta was flying to the ball. They were just playing aggressive football. They had some dynamic, offense as well. And when we watched it seems like they kind of have to get themselves righted in that way defensively and I guess offensively too. It seems like they hit a little bit of a lull. Or did that game, did the Crespi game kind of send them for a loop basically?
Yeah, I think you got a young defense, and the defensive backs is probably, in my opinion, their weakest point. They just. If you got a great, strong passing team, Roosevelt's going to give them a tough time if they meet them in the playoffs. They'll probably make it through first round. It always seems like we're going to meet Yucaipa or Santiago, and usually can get past them. But I don't know. I think actually there's still a little bit of a building season. But Vista, they seem to always. I tell you what, in the first half you would have thought that Temecula could beat them tonight, but it's a classic Vista team. They keep pushing, and
right.
They end up putting the points on. You can't give up on Vista. They'll be good, but I agree with you guys. I don't think anyone's going to touch.
Well, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see what happens as well. Hey, Rob, we got to move on, man. But thanks for calling in. We appreciate it. All right, that was Rob from Vista Marietta. He's been a loyal caller to us as well. What do you got, Zink? Got another call.
Yeah, we got Dennis Pope on the phone, and I got video to show while we're talking with Dennis. So,
all right,
talk to Dennis for a second. Let me get it set up. So here you go.
Dennis Pope. Dennis, where were you tonight? I thought you were going to be at Kaiser or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I got switched.
Jeff Perenni lied to me. Jeff Perenni lied to me. He lied to me. He told me you're going to be at Kaiser. Okay, you were at Santiago. Centennial went crazy in the second half. Is that accurate? Agree, disagree?
They had a big point swing in the third quarter where they scored a touchdown.
Wait, Dennis, wait a minute. A big point swing in the third quarter. A huge point. Exactly. All right. Okay, I'm sorry.
So wait, we're looking at highlights right now, Dennis, of footage that we have from the game. So just keep talking. We've got some footage we'll be showing on top of it.
All right. So tell us what happened in the game.
Centennial scored a touchdown on the first possession of the second half. They kicked off, and on Santiago's first touch, 28 fumbled, and 57 for Centennial picked it up and went like 43 yards for the touchdown. So that's 14 points. And then they went the onside kick route. They recovered, and then 4 plays later, Barrington Collins scores his 4th touchdown of the game, and they were ahead. That would be 48-6 at that point. Scratch made that 48-13 at that point.
Right.
And then the game was pretty much over.
So
Romello Goodman came in for Centennial in the fourth quarter and ran for almost $140 and 2 touchdowns. On top of Barrington Collins, 131 yards and 4 touchdowns. So they pretty much dominated Santiago's defense.
So 69 points. Santiago, we were talking about this earlier. I guess they've never beaten Centennial, and that's a huge one for Centennial as we move forward. I mean, you've seen a lot of games tonight, over the last few weeks, and is there anybody who can touch Centennial in your opinion?
Well, I'd like to see what Norco can do next week, but aside from that, I don't think so. I mean, they just don't. Nobody has their speed or their depth of speed.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We're watching.
We're watching guy after guy after guy, and they keep dominating. They had a number 97, their freshman running back, Trey Johnson, somebody. He touched the ball like 8 times at the end of the fourth quarter and still ran for like 50 yards.
Wow.
So, yeah, they have everybody.
Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Hey, Dennis, we'll look forward to your story. It'll be in tomorrow's paper. We'll talk to you later.
Good talking to you guys.
All right,
Bye.
see ya. All right, so that's.
Sorry about that, Lewis. I got lost in the highlights here. I thought they were up on the screen, and they weren't. I apologize, everybody. Let's go back and run through these because there's some tremendous highlights here.
Go through the.
Here they go.
Go through the full screen.
What's that?
Go to the full screen view so we can see have a better look at them. Then, there we go. Yeah, unbelievable.
Well, and watch, almost every time they touch the ball, it seems that they're going. Now, I don't know if that's on a 3rd and long. That was on a kickoff, obviously.
They just look so much faster than everybody else. And, you got to love speed.
Speed kills.
So here's Santiago trying to move the ball. Look at how fast the defensive and Santiago's got good players. I mean, they've got good receivers, got a good quarterback, they got a great scheme. But it just like this is like Centennial is just so much ahead of everybody right now. That's where I think it's surprising to me, because you look at those 2008 numbers, Dave. There's some closer games. There's not ridiculous blowouts like 69-13. I mean, this is like every week right now.
I agree, but at the same time,
you don't agree. I admit. I understand. I understand.
No, I agree that it's surprising the number of points they're putting up, but their performance is not surprising to me.
Right.
I mean, it is what it is,
man. First quarter,
I've seen them do this before. This is just a lot of running the football for touchdowns. Who took this footage?
I think Tom Bray did. Nice footage. 21-6 now at the point. I think he probably ended. I think he went home early. Well, he probably stayed through the 3rd quarter because it was sort of respectable at that point. The brilliance of Matt Logan is he plays such an exciting brand of football. I mean, I'll say this: who would want to play for a coach where you're going to get so many touches? It's not. We're going to give it to one guy. There's multiple guys, multiple opportunities. I mean, everybody's going to play a key role in this. So 27-6, 58 seconds to go in this, and that's all we've got. We only have halftime.
This is Norco.
Norco and King. Oh, fumble. King showing some signs of life, and they've got the ball.
It looks like King's got some big kids.
Well, it has.
And there goes Kelsey Young.
And tripped up.
Now, he's got a bum ankle, doesn't he? He's had one most of the year.
Didn't look like a very good tackle either. This is Gerhardt.
Quality.
Nice play. A nice drop back and delivery. Charlotte
Kelsey
Bray.
Young in for the touchdown.
Easy touchdown there. Now, this is probably the one long run that Hanley had. He's quick, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
But unfortunately,
if they just had some more people to go along with
right. Him. And no
block
extra
PAT.
Point. Nice little crowd actually there from the visitor side on a Friday night here in October. A cold and wet one too.
They destroyed.
It's only taken Norco like 30 years to get that stadium. What are you going to do, Eric?
I got to go back and see that kid get hit again.
Jeez, you're just you're so mean, Randy.
Fumble. Oh!
Do it again. I didn't get to see it.
Wait, hold on before we do this. If you're in the chat room, please turn your eyes.
Right. Yes.
This can be
Let me see it again.
offensive.
Oh my gosh. Just not fair. Not fair at all.
That's football.
That's football for you. Hey,
Kelsey
Roosevelt.
Young for another touchdown.
By the way, those in the chat room, 48-24, Takowitz loses to West Valley.
Here goes Kelsey again down the sideline.
I love the way he runs. Love it.
Where's he going, Stanford?
I believe so, yes.
Yes. Academics, too. He carries a 4.0.
He runs like a Gerhardt, doesn't he?
Yeah. Just knock you over.
Yeah.
Well, no, he doesn't run like a Gerhardt in that one.
What are you talking about? He just scored a touchdown.
Back it up.
He just scored a touchdown.
I know. Well, here's Poly North. Let's see this one though. But watch, he scores a touchdown as he falls into the end zone. Here he is. He tripped and he fell.
He got in. Okay, now here comes the Poly.
Here goes the
Poly North game.
Poly North game. And North getting themselves corrected. Nice run from Poly.
One of each.
And this is
Citrus Hill, right? Citrus Hill Hemet.
In dead highlights.
40 to 14.
Is there any sound? I turned the sound off. Sorry about that.
So you got some sound out of it as well, right? So North moving to getting their first win of the season, and that's gonna do some. It's really gonna wreck Poly. Poly's pretty much out of the playoffs at this point.
And North, for that matter.
Well, I think Poly is. I think North is still mathematically alive, aren't they? At 1-3, because they could still finish 4-3. I think so. They're 1-7.
Oh, that's right. Poly's 0-4. They could finish 3-4 and still make it.
They could still make it, right? But I think that pretty much.
I'm just holding out hope for the Bears. Okay.
You are holding out hope for the Bears.
Oh, look at that pass. You see that, Lewis?
No, let me see that again. Let me rewind that. I'm trying to do like 4 things at once here.
I hate to cheer on the team.
It's got to be a huge confidence booster, though.
Look at how long this pass is. Ready?
Right.
From the line and go. Looks one way, turns back, and just 38-yard line throws it down to the 20.
No, back to the 18. Yeah.
Nice. All right, this is a struggle.
That's a good run there. What are you talking about? This is a struggle.
Anytime I have to talk about Poly losing, it's a struggle.
Were your daughters at the game tonight?
No.
They didn't miss much.
No, they didn't.
Could you put Poly into our conversation about stuck in a rut?
Yes, you could.
I mean, they haven't.
No, you know what?
They haven't been horrible, but they just haven't.
You can't. They've made the playoffs in the last 10 years,
right?
And stuff like that. I don't think you can.
I put Hemet into that one.
I think. Well, I'm not. I can't. I have to abstain.
You're taking the 5th on that one?
Yeah, I'm taking the 5th.
See, I don't care. I just say, all right.
So we're done beating up on these guys. Let's go back to a camera. There you go, Lewis.
All right. Let's go through some of our scores we've got in now, and starting to trickle in slowly. Rancho Verde rolls over Vista del Lago 49-21. Beaumont and San Jacinto have finalized now 37-16. So San Jacinto, clearly the path is more clear for them now. Put Jeff's mic on again, because I think Citrus Hill beat Hemet.
It is on.
Is that right, Jeff? Is that a nod for yes or no?
What?
Citrus Hill beat Hemet?
Citrus Hill beat Hemet?
40-14. Citrus Hill over Hemet. So let's look at that. Let's look at that league for a minute. The Mountain Pass League. So you've got a showdown coming with Citrus Hill and Citrus Hill and San Jacinto now for a possible league championship. West Valley's out there as well. I think West Valley and San Jacinto play each other next week. Let me see. Citrus Hill plays at Tahquitz. Hemet plays Beaumont. Careful there. You turned off our computers.
No, it's been doing that all night.
Yeah. Okay, West Valley and San Jacinto play each other next week. West Valley beating Tahquitz tonight 48-24. So Tahquitz now 0-2, 3-4. West Valley is 2-0 and 4-3. And that's going to be an interesting one because Tahquitz, of course, gave San Jacinto some trouble last week, but before San Jacinto took care of them. So this is a little bit of a bigger margin of victory for when you look at comparative scores, which I know we don't want to look at. But Tahquitz, West Valley, really showing some separation there. That game will be at West Valley. It's the first time in a few years that San Jacinto and West Valley have played each other in a league situation. So we'll keep an eye on that one as well. So the Mountain Pass League right now, Citrus Hill, West Valley, and San Jacinto all in position possibly to vie for the championship. Of course, Citrus Hill lost to Beaumont last week, but it's going to basically now, if you look at San Jacinto and Beaumont. All right, let's look at we're still looking for scores from Ramona and Moreno Valley, Valley View and La Sierra. If you have them in the chat room, let us know. Carter and Rialto, the other ones we want to talk about, Oro Valley taking care of Pacific 69-13. No surprises there. San G rolls over San Bernardino 41-6. Carter and Rialto, we're looking for that one because that's a significant one in the San Andreas League and how that league shapes up. We'll have all these reports as well in the 10 o'clock hour. So we'll get that for you here momentarily. Dave, we have a little technical issue in here. We need to take a quick break because I have to fix a couple of things in the room. So we'll get that for you. Citrus Valley, 100% picked Citrus Valley to win, to lose. They beat Banning 40-14 tonight. Is that right? Is that accurate? Is that absolutely right?
That is exact.
Citrus,
accurate as our scoreboard.
Citrus Valley, 40-14. That's a huge one for Citrus Valley. A big win for a program that no one thought that Citrus Valley would win that game as well. Here we got someone calling right now.
It's HS Game Time Live. Who am I talking with?
Yeah, this is Mark from Corona Centennial.
Hey, Mark, how are you, man?
Good. I didn't call in last week because I'm getting kind of tired of calling in on these routes, but I had to call about tonight's game. It was just I don't know who's going to beat Centennial. You tell me.
We've been arguing about that all night.
We've been having this conversation, Mark, and the best to our recollection, the only team that probably in their division that could probably compete with them on any level, which I don't know if they can completely, is Norco.
Yeah, I agree. I think Norco's the only. Centennial's defense is incredible. I don't know how does Logan do it. Really, he continues. Everyone says.
He's surprised. He's surprised. See, I'm telling you, because that's the thing. It's like, how does this guy continue to do it? And it's incredible that he continues to march on like this. It's unbelievable.
Mark, do you find that it's shocking?
Yeah, my got a 28-year-old daughter. All three of my kids have graduated at that school. And I've been watching since he took over, year after year after year. They just continue to be at the top. The Chaparral was ranked number 1 at the start of the season.
Right.
And they lost 2 games, then they lost 3 games. And their coach says, "Oh, well, we're rebuilding." Everybody does it. They lost 3 of the best linebackers in the state, all in one group, that are all starters at Arizona State right now.
Right.
Okay, Mark, hang with me for a minute. This is my theory. It's not really my theory. I've usurped it from a guy that I've talked with all the time, and it's a dynasty effect. It's the fact that Matt Logan doesn't have to do anything. He just has to coach football. And the fact that the program is so successful that people are actually attracted to the program. The program doesn't have to attract anybody because automatically people are coming to the program. Just like, look, Taylor Martinez was over at Reb the year before his senior year, right? And he shows up over at Centennial ready to play football. It's a dynasty effect. I don't think Matt Logan has to do anything other than coach football to get kids to come there, and kids show up on his doorstep daily.
Well, I think that the kid that made the biggest mistake in the last 2 months was that Mike Dar kid that left Centennial to go to Santiago.
And you're probably right.
He'd have been a 2-year starter after this season. And Centennial just they threw him around like a rag doll tonight.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, hey, Mark, thanks so much for calling in, and thanks for giving us your opinion. And we'll talk.
I'll call you next Friday night after we hand it to Norco.
All right.
Hey, wait a minute. I got to ask you guys something. I went to the Servite Chaparral game 2 weeks ago, and I almost fell asleep.
Really?
Well, we almost fell asleep during the Vista Murrieta Chaparral game, so we were right there with you.
I don't understand how Servite gets the rankings that they do. I know they play tough schools, but I was not impressed. So anyway, I'll listen to you guys on the radio, on the internet. I'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, man.
Well, there we go. See, really, I think he kind of made points for both of us there.
Well, I look at it from the standpoint that, he has kids show up, but you still have to draw from your attendance area for the most part. That's the interesting thing. But I think it's like this kind of. He has this kind of approach to football that makes it fun.
He does. No,
right.
look, and I'm not trying to say that any guy with a whistle could go run over to Centennial and start coaching
No.
and put a program together. What I'm trying to point out is that the level of player that he gets is not because he's out recruiting that level of player, like a lot of people want to accuse him of.
Right.
The level of player just shows up at his place. It makes it a lot easier to be a football coach when you've got athletes like Barrington Collins and like Goodman, Romello Goodman, and you've got all these different great athletes that show up and want to play football. Now they might actually have been in the district. I don't want to say those kids came to that school from out of district, but
Right.
my point is that it makes it easier to be a coach when you're getting great athletes coming to your school, and beyond that point, he does do a good job coaching. All these coaches do a good job coaching. They just don't get the same kids that he gets.
Well, I think it separates, and we were talking about this too. Is it his dynasty or is it the Norco dynasty? Is Norco have a dynasty? I mean, from the coaching standpoint, he's a product of that program, but he runs a much different program, I think, than Norco did.
Right.
So. It's very interesting. It's fun to talk about.
Let's go jump real quick to our commercial, and we will
actually fix the issues here as well.
Yeah.
But we gotta remember that Fritz Ford couldn't do anything this week because of the rain and craziness of the schedule as well. But here we are with our Fritz Ford. All right, this is a 2010 Ford Mustang GT, and we took it out for a test drive. We'll show you some of that footage here in a minute, but remember, this has got a V8 in it and lots of extras as well, including heated seats, as Dave Zink found out here on our test drive. And it's also got some great options as well, but of course it's a 5-speed, full power, unbelievable handling. It's got custom wheels. It's got a custom exhaust system made by Gibson as well. The racing stripes are part of the whole package. And if you were to buy a Mustang here from Fritz Ford, they have a whole slew of options they can provide for you. Their whole game here is outfitting and customizing the Ford Mustang for your preferences as well. So come by here to Fritz Ford or visit us at fritzford.com. A brand new Ford Mustang. Now, we were talking to Chuck Zink earlier, and he was telling us that one of the things they do here at Fritz is they customize these Mustangs, and this is one that is customized.
It's sweet too.
Oh my goodness, it's
beautiful blue paint job.
And the best part about
custom exhaust. What else on this thing, Lewis?
Well, is that custom exhaust? It's got the racing stripes, and it's got the kit, the lowering kit.
Listen to that motor. That's a beast.
That is nice.
I don't know. I mean, last week we drove the Flex. Great family vehicle, right?
Right.
This week we're rolling in the, I guess this is for when Dad wants to go out on the town by himself, or is this for moms? What is this for?
Well, knowing my wife, this would be a vehicle that I would never be allowed to drive. This would be her vehicle.
How's Lewis's driving?
Horrible, man. If I didn't have a seatbelt, I'd be through the windshield right now.
That's nice. See as Lewis goes to the curb.
All right, now get out, Drexler.
All right.
Now he'll get you coming back the other way. Hopefully, if he's intelligent. Four-wheel discs.
Right. The thing I like about it the most too is I can control the climate on the passenger seat. And right now, Dave, outside is 96 degrees.
And he does it again.
No, show him the passenger temperature.
Oh, it's 80.
Earlier of the 10 stadiums to watch. It was funny, we were talking about this earlier, in case you missed it in the 9 o'clock hour, that the Hemet High athletic director called me out for my top 10 favorite stadiums that we did earlier in the season. He's like, hey man, I saw in the grocery store, he's like, where's Hemet in there? And it's really it was really sort of a funny conversation as well. Amity has a very beautiful football stadium, the John McDonough Stadium as well, but nothing like some of the ones we were talking about earlier. All right, let's look at the list. Let's look at the board. I'm going to kind of jump out of here for a second. I'm going to go back to camera 1 and turn my thing on so I can hear it. Camera 3. Oh my gosh! Sorry about that, everybody. Camera 3. Let's look at these scores, and here we are. Here is the board. We're talking right now. Okay,
before we get to that, Lewis, we got a call. Hold on 1 second, please.
Okay.
It's HS Game Time Live. Who are we talking with?
Celery. One call.
I'm sorry. This is HS Game Time Live. Who am I talking with?
Sorry.
I
don't know. Got another one. Got another one waiting.
No, I hung up on both of them.
Okay. Take that one down for a second. Let's go through the scores so we get everybody updated on the scores real quick. All right, Centennial, number 1, impressive nonetheless, 69-13. And we talked about that as well. Riverside Poly and North gets themselves their first win of the season. They're now 1-3, 1-7 on the year, 35-21 for the win for North. Roosevelt moves to 3-1 in the Big 8, and they win 56-35, a significant win for them. Remember, they're heading for that Week 10 showdown, and hopefully they'll hope Norco will help them out with a possible, championship implication as well. Norco beats King 35-15. King's kind of been a giant killer lately, but not against Norco. They've fallen now to Norco and to Centennial. King 2-2, 4-3. Norco 3-1, Dave Zink, and 5-2. And let's talk about the Big 8 for just a quick second. So next week, Randy Leyva, Centennial, and Norco. Who are your early thoughts on showdown? You're gonna take Centennial in that game, right?
Wow, how'd you know?
Dave, what do you think about?
We have a phone call.
We have a phone call. We're going. Dave, Centennial, Norco. Who do you like on that one next week? Possible preview of a CIF championship game or not?
I'm not going to pick my winner yet. I'm going to have to look over the numbers, crunch them a little bit, figure it out.
All right, let's move on to the Southwestern League now. Vista Murrieta had a tough time tonight against Temecula Valley. Needed an onside kick, or they had to recover an onside kick to beat Temecula Valley late. They do move to 2-0, 6-1, 33-22, the number 2 ranked team in the division. The question is Vista Murrieta, do they have the firepower to meet Vista Murrieta in the championship game? And Chaparral, what happened with them tonight?
What happened with Chaparral?
What
What
happened?
do you mean what
happened with Chaparral tonight?
Because they came up big?
Why? What? Right here. Here it is. Here's the score. What was the final score on that one?
70-7.
77 over Murrieta Mesa. And one of the fans that called in was not too happy about that game as well.
I feel like Vista Murrieta is the Centennial of the Southwestern League, playing with a target on the back. It's going to be that way the whole rest of the season.
I think you're right, too. I mean, I think you see some improved teams there. It's going to be closer. You don't see the separation that they have with the rest of the division, the rest of the leagues. Murrieta Valley takes care of Great Oak 42-13. That's a big one as well.
Hey, Lewis?
Yes?
If you want to, we can give Coach Matt Logan a call. I just contacted him. He said it'd be fine to give him a call.
All right, let's give him a call.
So just
you call him, and I'm going to keep going.
Yeah,
just holler at me. All right, Inland Valley League, Thursday night, Canyon Springs and Arlington met. We haven't talked about this game too much. Arlington now 4-0 in the Inland Valley League, 41-27, and I believe that Superior Reed, if you saw the picture in the paper, running away from everybody at that point, 41-27 or the photo gallery from that game. Arlington wins. I think he had 260 yards in that game.
3 touchdowns in the second quarter.
Wow, that's a good stat. So just jump in there, Randy, if you got something there. Valley View Lost there, still looking for it. Moreno Valley, still looking for that one. Rancho Verde takes care of Vista del Lago. Is that right, Randy?
Yes, they do.
What was the final score there?
Final score 49-21.
For the Mustangs.
For the Mustangs.
Who are now 4-0 and 7-0 overall. And Vista del Lago, which looks like they gave a game of it as well, they fall to 1-3 in the league and 3-4 overall. Rancho Verde plays Ramona next week. Vista del Lago plays at Canyon Springs. Sunbelt League action, Heritage, they're for real, everybody. They are very much in position for a league championship. They beat Paloma Valley 35-7. They're 2-0, 7-0. They win in the top 10 in the HS Game Time poll. They showed they deserved it, beating their rivals, their Menifee rivals tonight for the first meeting of these two programs. So that's a huge one as well. Lakeside and Paris was still looking for that one. We knew Lakeside, I think, was up in that one. Elsinore 24-10 over Temescal Canyon. 95% of you said Elsinore would win that one. So heading for a showdown with with Heritage. Elsinore playing at Paris, Temescal playing at Paloma Valley next week, while Heritage plays Lakeside. Hemet on the road at Citrus Hill. Citrus Hill gets themselves even in the Mountain Pass League. They're now 1-1 with a 40-14 win over the Bulldogs. Beaumont and San Jacinto. Randy Leva, what was the final score in that game?
37-16 Beaumont.
Nope, San Jacinto.
Oh, excuse me, San Jacinto. I'm
Right.
looking at the board. Sorry.
Do we have it wrong on the board?
No, we have it right. I
Right.
don't know why I said it like that.
Right, San Jacinto 37-16. Beaumont has lost now 6 consecutive games to Beaumont. That is the longest losing streak for Beaumont in this series since 1966. The series actually dates to 1929. Beaumont plays at Hemet. That's the first meeting between those two programs since the 1960s. San Jacinto plays at West Valley for a game that could decide the Mountain Pass League Championship. Tahakowitz and West Valley. I mentioned West Valley again, 48-24 win over Tahakowitz. West Valley now 2-0, 4-3. I feel like West Valley's got things righted now. They've been kind of inconsistent this season. Remember, they had a little 2-game losing streak there where they lost 2 games by a total of 5 points. Are you ready?
Whenever you are, Lewis.
Let's do it.
All right, so Corona Centennial head coach Matt Logan, let's give him a call and see what he's got from tonight.
Hey, Mountain Valley League 2, Banning loses.
Don't talk.
Citrus Valley.
Can't even hear it anyways.
Wow.
I'm just telling you.
Silenced.
Why didn't it ring? Keep going. I got to try it again.
Okay,
That's the problem.
try it again. All right.
You got to dial 1.
What's that?
Got to dial 1, don't you?
I believe so.
I did, and it didn't work.
All right, Notre Dame playing at Harupa Hills wins 40-0. Rubidoux playing Rim of the World 28-7. What other scores you got on that board there, Randy?
We have Redlands over Ukaipa, 23-14. Oh, did we announce the Rubidoux score, 28-7 over Rim of the World.
That's a big one.
Surprised?
I didn't get that one. Yeah, I am surprised a little bit. I think that when you go up to Rim of the World and you take care of them, that's a huge one.
Because you're in a different elevation.
Yeah, you're up mile high, and tonight it would be difficult. It would be cold and foggy, most likely as well. And earlier tonight it was ominous in there as well. Okay.
Kaiser running over another team, 49-0 over Patriot.
Here comes Drexler. What do you got going on, Drexler? Where's my Cajon Colton footage at? Okay. Here we go. We're trying to get a hold of Matt Logan.
I don't hear a dial tone.
And we're waiting. Nothing. Forget it. Let me come back out there for a minute, Dave, so I can help you for a minute. Randy, go through the rest of the scores we have.
Arroyo Valley 69-13 over Pacific. Cajon 29-20 over Colton. Carter 14-7 over Rialto. And San Gorgonio 41-6 over San Bernardino. We were just talking about that Pacific team. It's been so up and down with them. So we have a Lakeside score. Lakeside 27. Oh, we have an update. Lakeside 27-21 over Harris. And Ramona at Merino Valley. Merino Valley 20-6 over Ramona High School. If we have any updates for the Valley View and La Sierra or the Ike and Rev game, please notify us in the chat room. We're still waiting for updates on those. And we're trying to call in Coach Matt Logan right now. I'm not sure what's going on in the chat. Oh, I hear some dial tone. Oh, one more score from Drexler. Novi 20-13 over Harupa Valley. Another close game there. I think, how close was that game when you left what game were you at, Drexler?
It was at North and Pollock.
What was the score when you left?
35-21. I have no idea.
And that's what the final, wow, so what quarter did you leave in?
Started the
Fourth. Oh, so it didn't go too far from there. Not to say that it wasn't exciting.
While your party is
okay, we have a dial. This used to be our pump-up song in college.
Hello.
Coach Logan, David Zink with HS Game Time Live. How you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Obviously not as good as you. You guys rolled on again this week with a 69-13 win over a league rival, Santiago. I see you guys had a couple of backs and a quarterback go for 100 yards each. Sounds like you had a pretty good offensive performance, but the defensive performance is the one that's probably pretty understated. At 13 points, you guys had a great game.
Yeah, the defense played really well. I thought that they really controlled the clock. They did a good job of controlling the clock, and we only had 4 possessions in the first half. But I thought the defense, did a great job keeping them out of the end zone for the first half, and held them to 2 field goals.
Now, Barrington Collins, I believe, went for 4 touchdowns on 131 yards. We had Goodman, who was also had a good night tonight. It's just altogether a really, really good performance for your team. Seems you guys are shaping up really well 7 weeks into the season.
Well, yeah, and then we know whose week 8 is, so that's hopefully we've been gearing towards that and getting better each week and be prepared for this next week's game. So.
Now I know for a lot of teams getting a game like that I don't want to call it a must win, but every win's a must win. But that one team you're always gearing for, it makes some teams nervous. You get excited for that game, Coach, or is it just another week? Or how do you take that week?
We get very excited for it. We know how tough it is to win and play over there and everything, and we are 100% excited to play against them. I think we've all. We don't say it, we don't talk about it because we play 1 week at a time, but I think we've all had that game penciled in as the game for the season. So,
and about the performances tonight for not only your quarterback but Barrington Collins and Romello Goodman. Was it something you saw in Santiago's defense that you figured you'd exploit the running game, or is it just what they gave you? I don't know.
A combination of a couple different things. One is. We thought that they'd struggled stopping the run most of the season, and thought we could effectively do that. And then also the fact that we weren't real crisp throwing the ball tonight. We were so crisp the week before, and we're 15-16, and then tonight we had a few protection problems, not real crisp. Did some other things that didn't look good. So we felt like that the run game was going to be the best way for us to win the game and control the game.
Coach, I got a quick. This is Louis Amestoy. I got a quick question for you, just about Mike Eubank, and is he? Why do you suspect he's not getting more attention, or are we just not seeing it yet?
I don't think we're seeing it yet. I think the biggest thing was that he, as a junior, was a good high school quarterback, but he wasn't at the level he is now. I just think I think a lot of our kids on this team are kind of like that. They're kind of old school the way it used to be. You played your junior year, but then you got a heck of a lot better your senior year. You worked out hard, you trained hard, you did everything right, and you become better. Everybody now is everybody's got to be ready as a junior to get recruited, all that stuff. So I think that's part of the issue is that he wasn't quite ready as a junior. But he's picked up 2 offers in the last week from Division I schools, and I think more will come.
Yeah, I would suspect that they were going to have a real. Wherever he ends up, they'll be pleasantly surprised with his speed, size, and arm, I would imagine.
I think so, too. And the best thing about him with being a quarterback is he's a football junkie. He loves to watch film. He loves to study and break down opponents and study his skill set. He's constantly looking at his throwing motion and does all the things that he needs to do in order to become a good quarterback. Not only that, he's one of the strongest guys on our team. He lifts like a madman. So it's just great to have a kid with that type of work ethic.
You look at where you guys got to do next week. The Norco game is just huge. This is going to be probably an interesting week for you guys coming up. Describe this week getting ready for Norco.
We'll do what we always do. We'll come back on Monday and we'll show the kids the film. We'll look for areas of opportunities, and then we'll have our game plan set to go and try to put both of those things in motion and work as we go throughout the week. We're probably a little different than most people. We have full contact 3 days a week. As a matter of fact, we had 2 guys out last week because of contact we had during the week. So we got to be a little bit smarter about some of those things. But we've kind of always done that, and that's what we feel makes us better. As we get as many live reps and stuff that we can do in the week to prepare us for that Friday night game.
Hey Coach, you faced the quarterback for Santiago that was probably going to be your heir apparent quarterback going into the next 2 years. Obviously not this year. And Mr. Dar decided to go over to Santiago. Now, I'm not trying to get you to comment on whether he went to Santiago or not, but he would have started for you, because we had a dad call up and said the biggest mistake he made was going over to Santiago. He would have likely started for you in the upcoming seasons. Obviously not that much this year because you have other guys in line.
Well, we have a junior quarterback, Hayden Gavitt, that's a really good player too. So Hayden Gavitt will be our starter next year for the most part, and it probably would have been anyways, and it would have been a competition for sure. But we've got a good junior quarterback waiting in the wings.
Yeah, because he was saying it was the biggest mistake he made, and I wasn't so sure that this was a caller. I wasn't so sure that he was right on that. I know that the young Dar probably looked at this and said, well, my best opportunity is somewhere else, and he went somewhere else. I don't know. But
hey, Matt, one quick question for you before we let you go and start breaking down film for next week. But we were looking at you guys earlier. Compared to 2008, which, you had such a great season and a great team in 2008, it feels like offensively you guys are a little bit ahead. Well, I mean, the numbers kind of say it, that you guys are ahead of where you were in 2008 at the same point this season. Do you feel that way, or do you feel that you still have some work to do?
Well, we always have work to do. Always definitely have work to do. But I think the biggest difference between those two teams is in our offensive line. And the fact that our young guys have come a long way in a short amount of time, and it's really, that's the key to the success we're having on offense this year, is the ability to run our pass and really, honestly, do whatever we want in terms of that, because they're blocking so well and have come a long way.
Well, Coach, 2 years ago in 2008, you had plenty of really, really young, good defensive players. This year, earlier in the season when we talked to you last week and earlier, you talked about the fact that it's going to be a team effort that's going to get this done, and so that all being the case, I mean, is there any, at this point in the season, is there any standouts on your defense, or is it pretty just good team defense?
I think it is good team defense. I think that we've got Ryan Jack, who's committed to San Diego State. Our middle linebacker was all-state performer returning from last year, is playing really well. And I think both junior defensive ends, Nana Tuli Halamaka and Milo Jordan, who was an offensive lineman for last year, both of those guys are playing really well defensive end. And in our secondary 3-year starter, Chris Gonzalez, was playing well. And other corner, Isaac Kalunga. We've had some kids that have just really stepped up and played really tremendously well.
Well, it's really nice to hear their names, because all we tend to talk about is the offensive stats and the offensive players, the Barrington Collins of the world, and it's nice to get a couple defensive players in there, because I mean, as it stands, I mean, granted, you're scoring a lot of points, but you're not giving up a lot of points. I'm going to say you've given up less than 60 points so far this season, and that's pretty good feat in and of itself. Don't you agree?
Yeah, totally. The defense has played phenomenal. It definitely gets underlooked at our school, because offense always gets the highlights of those type of things. But defense has played just absolutely awesome. I think the last 2 weeks in particular, we've played quarterbacks who are very quick and can create on their own, and for the most part, we've done a pretty good job containing them.
Well, Coach, I know you're always going back home when you go to Norco, and it'll be a big game next week. I wish you the best of luck. I'm not going to root either way, because I like both programs equally the same, but I do wish you the best, and hopefully we can talk to you after this game. Hopefully you'll come back with a win.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you very much.
Take care, Coach. There you go. I just said I wasn't going to take sides. I said hopefully you'll come back with a win.
You just picked Centennial, you homer.
I did not.
They're horrible.
I didn't pick Centennial. Lewis.
All right. Well, we've got Kevin Pearson now with us, who is he was out sick last week. You were pretty sick last week, Kevin.
I was. Good to be back, though.
Yeah, it's good to be back and have you there. And you're gonna have to hold that microphone all the way up.
He was at Disneyland. Don't lie. You told me about your yearly pass.
Right.
Believe me, I was in bed last week sick.
Right.
That's a story, and he's sticking to it, people.
Where were you at tonight?
I was at the Paloma Valley Heritage game.
Oh, okay. Do we have we don't have footage from that yet, do we, Dave?
Pardon me?
We don't have footage from that game yet, do we?
No.
Do you have any photos from that game?
Based on the fact that I'm in the middle of the show with you, I'm going to have to go look. I don't know at this point.
All right, let's talk about Paloma. While Dave looks for those photos, let's talk about Paloma Valley and Heritage for a moment here, and I'm going to fix that camera too. But Heritage coming into this game, Kevin, was really, really, like, we thought they were going to have a good shot with this game. It's a rivalry game. We don't know what to expect. But sure enough, they had a huge win tonight, taking care of their arch rival 35-7. What was the reaction from the fans and from everybody else?
This one was all Heritage from the start. I mean, it was from the opening kickoff. They kind of dominated. It was a good crowd out there, and both sides were kind of cheering for both sides from the aspect of, it was everything Menifee. But I mean, this belonged to Heritage the whole time.
Right. Let's. What did they do right tonight, and who were some of the standouts as well?
Scott Benson, 22 carries, 116 yards, 3 touchdowns. They ran for 401 yards tonight, but Paloma Valley had a couple turnovers early and just never could get things going offensively. They had 3 turnovers and 2 first downs in the first half. And Heritage, to their credit, took advantage. It could have been worse. They had a fumble at the 1-yard line, another touchdown called back on the holding penalty. But, I mean, this was all them from the start. There's a shift down there. Paloma Valley has long been one of the dominant programs in that area, and they're a young team right now, a lot of juniors, a lot of sophomores playing. But at this point, the shift is over to Heritage, undefeated at this point, and looking like they may finish the regular season undefeated if they keep rolling like they are.
They still have Elsinore to deal with, though.
That's
going to be the issue.
And wait 1 second, they've got a really solid running game, correct?
Yeah.
And a very serviceable defense. That's how they play their game, correct?
Correct. Their run game, I mean, it was like they snapped the ball on the line of scrimmage, suddenly moved 5 yards up because they were just blowing guys off the ball on the line. Defense played very well, and they are a running team. That's what they're going to do. They have a couple trick plays. They refer to them as passes. But for the most part, I mean, they're going to put the ball on the ground and run it. But to their credit, their running game is as diverse as a passing game. They mix things up. They do different things to keep you off guard. It's not just run straight ahead.
This is where we need like that current affair, the Tony Bruno, bang. We have breaking news, by the way. Thanks to some sort of error in the score reporting, we have a wrong score. And the Broncos prevail, baby, 42-6 over Citrus Valley. A good story no matter what. I mean, originally we had a Citrus Valley winning, and now we have Banning winning. So I think Banning is the winner on that one, 42-6. I'm getting nods of agreement, so Banning does win. So
what's that I see on the Inland Valley League? Is that 2 in a row?
There it is. There's the Block B. Go Broncos.
There's the official Homer.
One of the final games at Mighty Nicollet Field tonight as well. That's camera 4. There it is. The Banning Block B.
Banning B.
Yes. My letter from 21 years ago. Okay, so wait a minute. Where's it at? Moreno Valley winning tonight. 2 in a row.
You know, it's funny. I picked against Moreno Valley last week in the pick'em.
Right.
And playing Canyon Springs, obviously they're our rival. Good friend of mine who coaches at Moval and who I played high school ball with called me up and left me a voicemail, basically saying, "You picked against us. You're dead to me. Call me back."
I got the same kind of.
Wait, he said you're dead to me and then call me back?
Yeah, and so
that's a Moval grad right there. They don't get the concept of death.
No, but then 2 days later, on Saturday after the game, I got another call basically saying, "You know what? Check the scoreboard. We won."
Hey, look at all Martyrs won tonight except Drexler's. Moreno Valley wins, Centennial wins, Notre Dame wins, the Broncos win, and Drexler.
Where's Drexler from?
King. He's a King guy.
Oh, okay.
King. 35-15. King goes
Another
down
Big
to
8 also ran.
All right, well, I'm sorry. Let's go back to Heritage for a minute because you were at that game as well. Any luck on finding any photos from that game?
Are you talking to me? You talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
You talking to me?
I'm talking to you.
Talk to Kevin. I'll find the photos.
Okay. All right. So let's look at this for a second. So you've got and we'll have the 11 o'clock hour. We'll have the league breakdown as well. So let's have we got Elsinore with 24-10 win over Temescal Canyon. Lakeside beats Paris tonight 27-21. Heritage plays, I believe, Lakeside next week.
Yes.
But that showdown with Elsinore is going to be a huge one. And just judging right now, I'd say Heritage is a slight favorite in that game.
I think so too. You know what strikes me about Heritage? Those kids and the coaching staff seem like they would just go along for the ride. I don't think that they comprehend exactly what they're accomplishing yet. They're just having fun. And they're like, you know what, we're going to ride this train as long as we can. We know we're not supposed to be in this situation, but we're having fun, and we're just going to go with
I think when you get into that point of the season now, I think the expectations start to change, though. I mean, because now you're looking at in that division. I have to look at what division they're in because I think they're in. Hey, Dave, what division is Heritage in? Do you remember? They're in Eastern.
Yes, Eastern.
So they're ranked.
They're
in
with
division.
Kaiser.
What's that?
They're with Kaiser in that
goodness.
same division, I believe.
Kaiser and Summit somehow lurking in that division. So,
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you
Yeah, exactly.
play at the big boys.
But I think the expectations have got to change now. I mean, now it's like we have a chance to win the league. We have a chance to do something in CIF. We have a chance to get ranked and and seeded in the playoffs.
There you go, Lewis.
As well. All right, so Heritage, as you see, is ranked 5th in that division. Elsinore's 3rd in that division. Kaiser, Serrano, Elsinore, Summit, Heritage, San Jacinto, Silverado, Victor Valley. Silverado's got to win against Summit, which is ranked number 4. Beaumont is going to go out of that as well. Burroughs is there. I like that division a lot. That's a fun division to watch. We'll talk to EPJ about that, but that's going to be interesting to see how that looks down the road there. Heritage is, I think, other than Kaiser, the only Summit's unbeaten too at this point. They have a tie, but Heritage is probably the only other unbeaten team in there. So.
No, it should be a good division.
It should be a good division as well. Okay, let's look at this board for a second. You want me to jump over to camera 3, Dave? Okay, let's go over to the board here. Let's do a rundown with Mr. Pearson here, and Randy, you can jump in here as well and throw anything. All right, so give me your just cursory reaction to these scores we've got tonight. All right, Centennial beats Santiago 69-13.
Centennial's good.
North gets their first win of the season, 35-21 over Poly. Roosevelt, still alive for a league championship. They win big, 56-35 over Corona. They were not happy with their performance against Poly last week. This clearly says that offensively they're in good shape. King and Norco, 35-15 over Norco. We saw a lot of mistakes from King, and Norco took advantage of them, and that was a good win there. Temecula Valley and Vista Murrieta, 33-22, and Vista Murrieta needed a little help at the end of the game. They had to recover an onside kick to win that one. It was like 27-22, I believe, late in the game.
That's a nice effort by Temecula to get that one that close.
All right. Chaparral wins 70-7. Really nothing to talk about there at that point. Yeah, so
is that their first or their second
one? They're 2-5 now. They've beaten Indio and they've beaten Murrieta Mesa. I think both teams are probably.
Can you find me a better 2-5 team in the state?
I would argue that the biggest problem with Chaparral after watching the one game with them, and I watched the game again on TV against Vista Murrieta, is they just make too many mistakes and they just move so slowly, but they scare me. They would be. Could you imagine?
Nobody is going to want to play.
Could you imagine drawing them at 5? If they could finish out the season 5-5, and finish second in the league possibly, or third in the league, even at 4-6 possibly. If they lost to another team, that could be a very interesting. That would be a horrible one to draw because they're very, very tough.
And they could take out a league champion, no problem.
Right. All right, Murrieta Valley wins big on the road at Great Oak, 42-13. Let's go. We talked about the Sun Belt League, but just recapping, 35-7 Heritage over Pullman Valley. Paris loses again, extending their losing streak in the league to 19 games. We talked about them earlier and the struggles with Paris. A tough day for Paris, too. One of their great former swimmers was killed by a shark today in Santa Barbara.
And I know that was Paris's homecoming, too, and there had to be some heavy hearts out there.
Moment of silence as well. Elsinore beats Temescal Canyon 24-10. Let's move on to the Inland Valley League where things starting to shape up. Thursday night, Arlington 41-27, heading for that showdown with Rancho Verde. We'll skip ahead. Rancho Verde beating Vista del Lago 49-21. Moreno Valley gets their second consecutive win of the season. I said this all along. I could never imagine Ted Watkins coach team going winless, and now they've got 2 wins. And their AD had texted me and says, hey, we played arguably a kind of a challenging schedule beginning with, I don't necessarily agree with that, but they now have 2 wins. La Sierra falls to Valley View 41-19.
That's kind of a shocking.
That is kind of a shocking one.
That's been the biggest surprise for me up there so far of the night, is maybe not just Valley View winning, but certainly the score difference there kind of shocks me.
Right. And La Sierra's all over the place, and so is Valley View. I mean, it's a very unpredictable league. And right now it's going to come down to for that fourth playoff spot in that league is going to become out of who's going to do the best out of these Moreno Valley Unified schools. But La Sierra really took a step backward today.
And realistically, I mean, there were probably about 5 or 6 teams competing for that last spot.
Right.
Lewis, we just got a final. Summit defeated Bloomington 22-13.
22-13. Wow. That's a little bit closer than I thought. That's a little bit closer than I thought it would be. So let's we'll touch on that one here in a minute as well. How you doing in there, Dave? You find everything you need?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, yes, sir.
In fact, there, I'm just moving over some pictures. Keep on talking,
very
people.
Nice, very nice. Which game? This is from the Paloma Valley game?
This is a Kaiser.
Kaiser game. Oh, they're playing Patriot tonight.
Kaiser Patriot.
Do we have a final on that one yet? Yeah, we do. 49-0. Right.
That West Valley Talkwood score kind of shocks me a little bit too.
Yeah, we talked about let's talk about that for a second. Hammett loses Citrus Hill 40-14. San Jacinto takes care of Beaumont 37-16. I actually have the scores from that series. We'll talk about that here in a moment too. West Valley and Tahquitz 48-24. West Valley was sort of like uneven. They lose to Rancho Verde, then they lose to Laguna Hills, and they lost to Norte Vista by a combined total of 5 points. In those two games, they lost earlier big to Rancho Verde. They've been up and down all season. Now they're in a position for the showdown with San Jacinto next week for the possible league championship out of the Mountain Pass League. What do you like in that league? Because you're actually out there covering those guys, at least covering city councils out there.
And a little bit other school stuff.
Right.
You know what? I mean, I'd have to go with San Jacinto if I were a begging man.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying I am a begging man, but...
We're going to put some money on it later. Yeah, so, okay.
Sounds good.
All right. We had the score wrong earlier, so we apologize to all you Banning folks. I'm sure David Jackson...
I got another final.
Oh, another final.
Rev 48-12.
48-12 over Eisenhower. 48-12.
Rev finally found some offense.
Well, they were playing Eisenhower, so they didn't have to really look real hard at it.
Oh,
wow!
And currently we're looking at scores from the Cajon upset of
Okay,
Colton.
now this is the big one here. Hold that for a second.
Really?
Cajon taking care of Colton 29-20 in the driver's seat now for a San Andreas League championship as we look forward into the season. Still looking for Fontana and Miller. Let me go back to the Citrus Valley. So Banning beat Citrus Valley 42-6. We had it reversed, or we didn't have it. It wasn't even the right score.
I don't even know how that got confused. That score was way off.
Yeah. Notre Dame beats Hoopa Hills 40-0. And Rubidoux goes on the road on a dark and stormy night to Rim of the World and wins 28-7.
I bet it was a little bit chilly up on top of the mountain.
I bet it was too.
I was cold in Menifee. I can't imagine being on top of the hill tonight.
When I look at like impressive wins tonight, I look at Cajon Colton. I look at Rubidoux Rim.
You look at that as an impressive win. Look at the size disparity in the schools.
Rubidoux Rim.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about this, that Rubidoux has seen erosion, right? And they have closed, and they haven't had a lot of success against a program that, yes, they are smaller than Rubidoux or than Rim.
And they're having a down year.
They're having a down year, but to go to Rim, it's like anytime you play Rim, you know you have to play a really good game because they compete no matter what. I mean, athletically,
they do play hard, and like I said, going on top of the mountains, a tough thing. I'm sure it was. Well, it was pretty chilly up there, I'd imagine.
Well, I think anytime you have a game where you have to play, I just have like a lot of respect for Rim of the World. I mean, because it's a well-run athletic program, it's a well-run school, they have a lot of good kids. So that's one that's like if you go and beat them, that's a good win for your program. I look at that one. I look at Heritage. What else am I looking at here? I guess I have to give it up to the Vikings, man. 2-0.
What about the North game?
Well, yeah, North. I mean, I don't think we thought that was going to happen with Pauley. I mean, the fans said Pauley. Let me look at the Zink said Pauley.
I think I said Pauley.
You said Pauley?
I'm not rubbing it in by any means.
You're not rubbing it in.
I wasn't.
Who'd you pick? You picked Pauley, didn't you?
I don't remember. Yes, I do. I did pick Pauley.
I think it was like 90% pick Pauley at the end.
86% pick Pauley.
86% pick Pauley, including Drexler.
Is Drexler ever right?
No.
Not in Lewis's book.
Not ever. He did have some nice footage from the Cal Baptist, Cal State volleyball game.
We got a phone call, Lewis.
Okay, let's take it.
Hi, it's David Zink with HS Game Time Live. Who are we talking with?
Yeah, this is Mike. How you doing?
Good. How you doing, Mike?
All right, man. I just had to call in, man, before I called tonight, just to say that you guys got to give the KZ props for how he destroyed Colton tonight. He just destroyed him single-handedly. This kid is definitely D1 prospect, and he showed it to the Colton fans tonight and to the Cajon fans. So you guys just got to give KZ some props. Number 24, defensive back, KZ.
Well, we are just showing pictures from your game, and we're actually
we'll have video shortly too, I think.
Yeah, we'll have some video here pretty quickly, but an impressive win. Very good. Obviously, put you guys in somewhat of the driver's seat, huh?
Oh my God, man! But I kid you not, this kid was so amazing tonight. He was so excited. He was everywhere. Kickoff return, opening kickoff back for 98 yards.
Wow.
That just started the night off, and then he got an interception. Then he got a touchdown pass. Then he picked up a fumble return and ran it all the way back. The kid was phenomenal. This is Walter Cage's younger brother, and he's definitely.
Well, we'll definitely put him on the radar. What's his first name?
Mel.
Mel?
Yeah.
Mel Casey. Well, we'll keep him on the radar. Hey, thanks so much for calling. We'll talk to you again soon.
Get another call?
HS Game Time Live. This is David. Who are we talking with?
Darius Ellsworth.
I'm sorry, Darius?
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? What game did you go to tonight?
Heritage Wildcat game, Paloma game. Just want to shout out to the Heritage Patriots.
Yeah. You guys handled them pretty easily tonight, huh?
Yeah, we did good. I just want to shout out with the Menifee Bowl. We got our trophy. I just wanted to shout out.
No, it's called the Menifee Bowl.
Yeah.
And what's the trophy? What is the trophy made of?
The trophy, it's just a football. It's a golden football.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So now, is this the first year of the Menifee Bowl, or is this how many? I'm sorry about that. How many years is Menifee Bowl? First year.
First year, right.
And Paloma had to give it up. The old dog on the street has to give it up, huh?
Yep.
Well, impressive. Hey, you guys are having a heck of a season. Can't wait to see how the rest of the season plays out for you. Don't forget to give us a call back next week. Thanks for calling.
All right, thank you.
Talk to you later. All right, there you go.
Hey, get me off the camera. Okay. Hey, tell him I got Paloma Valley's mascot wrong. Just tell him to change it.
No, you got hair. Is it woman?
Yeah.
We're making.
Wait, we got conversation going on here.
Right. It's a sock.
By the way, we got a mascot
We just
here.
have to keep it busy in
That's
here.
how it works here.
It's HS Game Time Live. This is David. Who am I speaking with?
Yeah, Jalen.
I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
Jalen.
Hey, Jalen. How you doing? What game were you at tonight?
I'm good. I was at Kaiser against Patriots.
And obviously Kaiser took care of business.
Well, the good thing about it is that the Kaiser defense is just strangling them. But the Kaiser offensive line, if you would look at how those big boys are doing it, you see where Kaiser's getting all their effort.
Oh, hey, so I guess you might have dropped the call. It's all right.
Hello?
Hello, who's this?
I'm sorry. We didn't know if we still had you on the air.
Yeah, this is Jalen.
Hey, Jalen. Sorry about that. We're having some trouble hearing. We got people talking in the background. Being an annoyance, but we're trying to keep it quiet. So, again, you were at the
Kaiser Patriot game.
Oh, that's right, Kaiser Patriot. And we saw some footage We saw some pictures from that game. Looks like Kaiser pretty much had it in hand, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Patriot had a nice little running game, and we all know what to expect from Kaiser's defense. They're pretty much all seniors, I believe, and they just don't give you much. But I was impressed with Kaiser's offensive line. And, the holes they were making for the running backs, I was like, oh.
So, and Kaiser's, this is pretty much an annual thing for Kaiser. Good defense, good running game, get to the playoffs, see what you can do with it.
Yeah, that's true. You know, a lot of people, I don't think are giving them credit, but you got to understand, I think they got every position, both offense and defense, are filled with seniors.
Yeah.
I'm talking to a guy who has a kid on there. And they're experienced and they're battle tested. So. And
I give them all. I give them all the credit. Well, they're number one in the Eastern Division, but they do definitely have a lot of people behind them that are pretty good teams. I mean, Serrano, Elsinore, Summit, Heritage, just to name the next four after Kaiser. I mean, that's a pretty tough row to hoe right there.
Really? Okay, I never heard of them.
Oh well, Elsinore down in southern Riverside County is a very formidable team. Good, just like you guys, can run the ball and a very good defense. If you meet up with them, that's what you're going to see, a low-scoring game. They're going to see who's going to slug it out. And then Summit, they're a team that can really open things up. Heritage got a good running game and a pretty good defense. And Serrano in the high desert, they're going to have about the same thing. It seems that your division's loaded with teams that can run the ball and play good defense.
Well, that's good.
That's very good.
Centennial. I just hear Centennial over here.
Well,
I played them in preseason. It was a preseason, like a passing league.
Yeah.
And I think Centennial walked away with like a 7 touchdown to 6. And Kaiser was missing like 3 people, and I think the Centennial coach said they were missing people too. So.
Wow.
Oh, hey,
well,
thank you. I hear about Centennial, but.
Well, we like to talk about all the teams, and I appreciate you calling in about Kaiser. Give us a call next week. We'll talk again.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Hey, Dave. A couple of. What are you holding? Go ahead.
HS Game Time Live. This is David Zink. Who are we talking with?
The prep dog.
Oh, wait a minute. All right. So you're not coming back into the office tonight, are you?
First of all, I'd like to say that I'm a little embarrassed to describe myself as the prep dog outside of Starbucks. I'm hearing that there are pseudo-intellectuals in the audience who are going to be snickering.
Right. Well, we're snickering already, so it's good. And you just insulted like everybody in here. I can't believe that. What's up with that? I mean, that's unbelievable. Okay, prep dog.
I'm in North San Diego, dude.
Yeah, you're in
South City.
You're in South Riverside County, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you?
Same thing.
What did you cover tonight?
Great Oak, Murrieta Valley.
Not that close at all.
No.
And basically.
Fortunately, I had the HS Game Time helicopter.
Talk about that game a little bit. So the Vista Murrieta had a little bit of a challenge tonight against Temecula Valley, 33-22, and Murrieta Valley wins 42-13. This league, do you have a sense of it right now? Who's the best team in it? Is it Vista Murrieta? Is it Murrieta Valley? What do you think?
I still think it's Vista Murrieta. You know, it's theirs to lose. Murrieta Valley could challenge them. They could hang in the game with them, but I don't see them beating them.
Okay, so if we're looking at the division right now, Centennial is number 1, Vista Murrieta is 2. Does Murrieta Valley basically deserve to be in the top 10 in the Inland Division poll?
Well, they've got a pretty good record. I'd have to see the other teams that are ranked. But they're a respectable team.
Well, you got Rancho 3rd, Roosevelt 4th, Norco 5, Upland 6, Claremont 7, Chino Hills 8, Rev 9, and Redlands 10. You've seen a lot of those teams, I think, at some point, right?
Yeah, I think that they would, I don't know. I don't know that they're as good as Rev, maybe a notch below.
Okay. All right, so let's just do our weekly Murphy's Musings. This is one of the best part of the weeks where we talk about some of the things that are out there. I'm going to just throw some scores to you, John, and tell me what you think of these scores. First off, Centennial beat Santiago 69-13.
Wow. Yeah, Santiago continues with that roller coaster up and down play, while Centennial cannot score less than 42 points. It's like they've got 42 points when they get out of bed.
Right, exactly. All right, let's go. Let me see here. Let me get a couple. Kevin Pearson's with us, by the way, and he's all happy about Moreno Valley winning their second consecutive game of the season. They win 20-6 over Ramona.
Once again, when he gets up tomorrow morning in those Moreno Valley jammers, he scrambles out to the porch to get the press enterprise.
Right.
He's going to be a happy man.
Hey, I'm going to show up to this studio in the Moreno Valley shirt next week.
There you go. We already showed the Banning B because Banning beat Citrus Valley tonight if we had the score wrong, but it beat him 42-6. All right, let me look at.
Banning beat Citrus Valley, you said?
Right, they did beat him. We actually had it wrong at one point during the night, but that's been corrected now. Heritage moves
So
to.
some short-lived joy in North Redlands.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, it was we were kind of couching it as a really big story, and it was unfortunate that they did not pull that one out. Let me see here. Norco beats King 35-15. Heritage moves to 7-0, and they win 35-7.
Juggernaut.
Heritage 7-0, man.
Break them up.
Break them up. Stop them. Okay, here we go. San Andreas League. Cajon beats Colton 29-20.
Yeah, that's a great win for Kim Batten and the Cowboys. Colton has kind of been the kingpin over there for a while, and Cajon didn't have a real great start to its season. But they're getting healthy and obviously playing well.
Hey, John, so we haven't heard a lot of talk from Cajon, but in the last 2 weeks there have been phone calls from Cajon. Do you think they're starting to gain confidence in their team? Because I remember last year we had a lot of phone calls all the way up to about 8 or 9, and then they realized that they couldn't run the football against some good teams, tried to change their offense, and things kind of fell apart for them. Does it take a while for them to get cocky, or?
Does it take a while for them to get cocky?
Well, they haven't called all season. In last 2 weeks, they've called us. We've had 4 phone calls.
I think 4 calls from them tonight, right?
Yeah. Well, brace yourself.
San G wins 41-6. Carter beats Rialto. Arroyo Valley beats Pacific. So the San Andreas League very much up. Cajon's kind of set the tone now, and they're in control. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens with that one. Let me see if there's any other scores that you would be interested in. Your Terriers win. Your Wildcats win 23-14. Redlands over Yucaipa. Rev beats.
Yeah, I got a text from Bruick, and he said that they were up 42-zip at halftime.
I know we've asked this before. Who's going to
text me at halftime? But he said they were ahead.
Who's going to win between Fontana and Eisenhower?
I think maybe Fontana. Although, gosh, it's probably a toss-up.
It feels like
Fontana hasn't played a very good schedule, and they haven't won a game.
Right.
But Ike isn't very good either, so.
That's just painful. Very painful. All right, Prep Dog, let's go. We'll talk to you later, man. Have a safe trip home and enjoy your what are you drinking? Like breakfast blend? What are you drinking tonight?
What am I drinking?
Yeah.
Well, it's a little bit personal, but right now I'm having a coffee and a iced water at Starbucks.
All right, cool. Thanks, John. We'll talk to you next week, man. All right, we got another call.
We did. You took so long getting off the phone, they left. They
got
bored.
The other day they
got bored with us.
I realized that my mic was turned off throughout that conversation, but it's probably a good thing for all of you people that have my mic turned off. Hey, a couple scores.
No, the best part about it was you're being picked up by every other mic in the room, right, so it was a nice echo kind of in the background.
I couldn't figure out what was going on there. I thought it was just some sort of weirdness. Okay, well, a couple of scores I want to get to down in the low desert. Palm Desert beats Cathedral City 56-6. Well, it's going to be a long season for Port Rich McClure and his group down there at Cat City. They just get beat really bad every week. Palm Springs beats Coachella Valley 33-20. 29 Palms beats Desert Hot Springs 28-24 in the De Anza League. That's a big win for 29 Palms. They're now in position to win that De Anza League. And La Quinta beats Indio 49-7. 49-7. Here we go. Give me that call.
Yeah, here we go, Lewis. Take it.
You're on HS Game Time Live. Who's this?
This is Tom Phillips calling in.
Hey, Tom. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, where were you at tonight again? Rancho Verde, right?
Yeah, Rancho Verde versus Vista del Lago.
So it seemed like that game was a little bit close early on, and but it looks like Rancho Verde, in typical fashion, just kind of pulls away from people. Is that accurate? Just not accurate? Tell me about the game.
Well, yeah, it is. The second week in a row I've covered Rancho Verde, and sometimes they shoot themselves in the foot early on, and then they get it together. Last week they had over 100 yards in penalties, and this week they turned the ball over once in the first half, and then had a few penalties also. But once they got in their groove and stuff, they played very well. And their defense played very well tonight, actually. Trent Hedlund was the area's leading passer coming into the game. and they held him to 167 yards after his 450 yards.
When you say they held him to that, did they put a lot of pressure on him? I mean, that's a very fast defense, and did they sack him? Did they put pressure on him? What happened?
Well, they sacked him 4 times, and they harassed him. He's pretty fleet of foot for a quarterback. He gets around pretty well.
Right. He's pretty good size too. Yeah.
Yeah, he is, and he rushed 6 times for only 4 yards, and that's because he got a 10-yard rushing attempt late in the game to even put him in positive yards.
It's kind of interesting looking at the Inland Valley League now, because Valley View beat La Sierra tonight pretty handily, 41-19, and Arlington's now unbeaten, so they're heading to the showdown against Rancho Verde. So it's going to be an interesting run here for Rancho Verde as they continue their march through that league. So we'll see what happens.
And
with
if I'm
them.
not mistaken, they don't play Arlington for another few weeks. So, and Valley View's really come on after starting off pretty rough here, and then they've come on the last couple of weeks and really shown that they might be a factor.
Yeah, exactly. All right. We appreciate you calling in, and we'll hope to talk to you next week.
Okay.
Thanks. All right. Next call. They're on HS Game Time Live with Lewis and Randy and Kevin Pearson. Who's this?
This is David from Notre Dame.
David Bradvica. Hey, David. So the Titans win tonight 40-0, as you were obviously well informed about.
42-0, sir.
42-0 over Harupa Hills.
All right.
That's all right. 42-0. I'm going to have Randy change the score right now.
You got the teams in the right order.
Do you feel like you guys are in position to win the league championship, or is it still? I mean, are you still afraid of Rim? Are you still afraid of Rubidoux? Are you still afraid? I mean, talk about that.
That's a lot of questions, but I think we are, and I think it's just the main thing is all the hard work's right ahead of us. Obviously Rubidoux is better than anyone could have imagined at the start of the year. So it's kind of exciting to think that'll be a great game next week.
Hey Dave, quit using coach speak.
Zink says stop using coach speak.
Coach speak.
Yeah,
I love Rubidoux. That's the one high school I always have a soft spot for.
We've got our work ahead of us.
Hey, Dave. Kevin.
No kidding. You don't want to behind you, Dave.
Hey, David. Kevin Pearson and I were talking about this earlier. That going to Rim for Rubidoux. I thought that was a pretty big win. That's a big win. Would you agree? I mean, anytime you go to Rim of the World and win on the road.
Yeah, I think so, and I think what I meant to say before Dave disparaged me was that really we haven't had a real, I think in your terms, a signature win. I think we're still a team that's sort of trying to define itself, and I think we're going to find out.
Right. Well, I'm
a couple weeks.
Stop the coach speak.
Who do you guys have next week?
That's not coach speak, Dave.
We're gonna find out who we are.
Who do you guys have next week?
You're gonna throw out Dave. You're gonna throw out the line. They weren't who we thought they were.
No, not yet. That's going to be after next week, I think.
All right.
Hey, Dave, go Titans. Hey, Dave. Thanks so much for calling in. Hey, Dave, and how did Paul do in the JV game?
Couple touchdown passes, and we won 34-6. We're coming along great.
I saw he went for about 100 yards passing too.
Oh, yes, right. Oh, that's right. I did put that on Facebook.
Hey, tell Paul to keep his head up. That's good stuff.
All right, thanks,
Talk to you later. Hey, by the way, talking about football that doesn't matter yet, just so I can get my 2 cents in here on my nephew's Arlington freshman football team is undefeated. I'll have you know. They're owning teams now.
Next week we're going to devote a whole segment to
Actually, you're right. Freshman football.
I'm going to step out here for a minute because I want to see. Are you ready to go with our league?
Beautiful, good stuff.
All right.
Beautiful, good stuff.
All right. we got EPJ here.
We got a call first.
Our weekly league roundup.
We got a call.
We have a call.
Thanks for calling HS Game Time Live. This is David Zink. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, David. How are you?
I'm good. And who's this?
This is Lisa.
Hi, Lisa. And what game were you at?
I was at the Kaiser game.
At the Kaiser? Oh, here's another Kaiser fan.
Kaiser fans are representing tonight.
Yeah, big time.
The Kaiser fan. I want to give them 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, you guys had a heck of a game tonight and a great season thus far.
Yeah, we've been pretty good. We've been doing good.
Well, we appreciate you calling in and giving us a little bit of a props to your team, and we'll talk to you again next week.
All right, thanks.
All right, so let's take that down, and let's go to the league. Let's go to Drexler's league reports. Let's go to the Big 8 first. Hold on one second.
We just got the Fontana and Miller score, by the way.
Camera, which camera, Lewis?
EXT.
I know what EXT, but okay, never mind. It's on.
All right, take down the text graphic. All right. So week 7 results. Eric Paul Johnson now with us, and let's talk about this for a second. Centennial 69-13, the win there. Just give us your thoughts here on this huge win for Centennial.
Yeah, just kind of more of the same for Centennial, I think, is what we're seeing here. So, it's one of those things where I think they're definitely capable of putting up these numbers. Are they trying to maybe make a statement heading into next week's game against Norco? Perhaps. But, I think this is one of those games where points were definitely going to be put on the board, given we've seen in the past weeks Santiago's giving up a lot of points on defense and going up against the best offense. It was not going to be a good match.
All right. Coach Logan was on with us earlier, and is talking about how the defense is playing really outstanding right now. We poked him a little bit about kind of looking ahead a little bit. We'll talk about that in a moment. But 2008, this team, the 2008 team, which was probably one of his best teams ever, averaged 37 points a game. He's averaging over 50 points a game at this point in the year.
And I'm of also the opinion that the 2017 might have actually been the more talented team, just because of the defense that they put out on the field that year. They're not the team that won the state bowl game, but given Shelly Lyons and Brandon McGee were still on that defense. But yeah, this defense, they don't have that real big star on defense, but they are definitely keeping people from scoring a lot of points. And I'd say probably half the points scored this year might be against their second teamers.
Let's talk about the rest of the Big 8 for a minute here. And Dave, you can jump in. Randy, you can jump in too. Kevin, jump in. But let's look at Roosevelt. Gets themselves righted after last week's kind of so-so performance offensively. They beat Corona 56-35. North gets their first win of the season over Poly. King can't pull the magic together. They lose to Norco 35-15. Here's the Poly North one. How big is this one for North to get themselves? We were talking earlier, legitimately they might be 0-10, but now they have a big win against
they
rivals.
kind of needed this one with a lot of young players. You didn't want to come into an 0-10 season, so it definitely gets some momentum. Will it be able to carry over into another win? You never know. There is talent on that field out there for North. It's just can they put it together for an entire 4 quarters. So. But we'll see where they go from here. Like I said, they're going to have a lot of kids back on this team, and one win right now could do a lot for that program.
Right.
Maybe part of their motto too is they don't have much to lose at this point.
Right. They don't. Absolutely not, because this is the program that has had a fine history and moving on. All right, so we've got Norco highlights here.
I was out at this one today, so one of those interesting games where Norco. First half, first quarter, a little sloppy on offense. Second quarter, just fantastic, scoring 28 points, touchdowns on all 4 possessions. And, just kind of went into cruise control into the third quarter. Kelsey Young had 224 yards at halftime and only finished with 238. So definitely I think they were saving themselves and trying not to wear themselves out with the showdown with Centennial. But, Todd Handley, as we see here, breakaway for a touchdown. He had a 50-yard touchdown run there. He also caught an 85-yard touchdown pass. The problem for King was on those 135 yards, they got 135 yards on those 2 plays. On their other 41 plays, they only got 62 yards.
Ouch.
So Norco's defense played fantastic today, save for those 2 plays.
And then the play here of the special teams as well. Yeah. All right, let's look at we get a chance
now, Eric,
here.
real quick before you go any farther. Norco, Centennial going into next week. How do you grade Norco going into that game?
I think they are. I still believe they're the team that could beat Centennial. Will they? Right now, I don't think they have to be considered the favorite. Coach Gerhardt was trying to, prod me into the picks next week, saying I want to see 4 Centennials in the staff picks, 4 Centennials and 1 Norco on there. Trying to get me in there. I still think they can beat them because they are so physical up front. It's still a young offensive line. Will they be able to do it? It's just tough seeing anyone slowing Centennial down right now.
All right, here are the standings right now. Centennial 4-0, Norco 3-1, Roosevelt 3-1. Then you have this little logjam at 2-2 between King and Norco or Corona. Corona feels like they're going, in a different the wrong direction at this point.
You got to remember they did start off against that tough part of they beat Poly and North to start off.
Right.
So it's kind of they had to face the big dogs from here on out.
Right.
King even losing today, they're still in fantastic position because they do have the tiebreakers on Corona and Santiago already. So unless they get upset by North or Poly, King's probably still going to get locked into that 4th spot.
Right, and then Poly and North, Santiago 1-3, North 1-3, Poly at 0-4. They're still mathematically eligible for a playoff.
Right. I mean,
tonight didn't help much, but
right. I mean, like I said, I think this is how you're going to see it. If everything plays out how it goes, Roosevelt right now would go as the 2 because they have the tiebreaker on Norco.
Right.
Plus, Norco can pick up. Both of them still have to play Centennial too. So.
I think that was an important win for Roosevelt tonight over Norco. Corona, making that statement.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, because they played so poorly on offense last week, and, to put up those points was pretty big, even though to give up 35 points to Corona, it's got to be tough when they still have to sit there and see Centennial on the board. So,
all right, let's move on to the next week's games, Adam. And here it is. So Poly playing at King, Santiago at Corona, Centennial at Norco, Roosevelt at North. Of course, that's going to be the game of the week, probably Centennial and Norco.
Yeah, without a doubt. You remember last year's game went down to the wire. Norco going for a 2-point conversion at the end and getting it to beat Centennial. So, and if I'm trying to go back, into my history, I remember writing this at one point. Centennial has not lost a league game to anyone other than Norco in like 9 or 10 years. So I think Corona was like the last team to do it. And it was like back in 1999, perhaps, that they did that. Only Norco has been able to beat Centennial in league.
Okay, so that's going to be an interesting one too. I mean, as far as other big playoff implication games, Santiago Corona, and then obviously Roosevelt North.
Yeah, Santiago Corona. Santiago right now, that's a must-win game. If they lose that game, they're pricing their playoff chances completely gone. And Corona, they need that bounce back game. They have to have 2 of these next 3, or they're out of the playoffs.
All right, so we're going to talk now about the Southwestern League in a moment here, and we can look at some of the scores from the Southwestern League, and here it is. Murrieta Valley beating Great Oak 42-13. Vista Murrieta over Temecula Valley 33-22, and Chaparral basically no mercy on Murrieta Mesa 70-7. They're talking about they did an onside kick like in the 3rd quarter too to get the ball back. And Kevin, you brought up a good point too. Is Chaparral still a really scary program? I mean, the 2 wins against Indio and Murrieta Mesa. The game that surprised me, I think, everyone the most is that Temecula Valley, Vista Murrieta needed some help at the end to secure that, kind of boost that margin of victory a little bit.
And Temecula, we always say, is an improving program. They have gotten things back on track under Paul McGowan. But going back to excuse me, Chaparral is a dangerous team. But yes, I mean, they're probably going to go to the playoffs, either 4-6 or 5-5. Right. But I will tell you, they're going to have to face either a league champ or a really good second place team. But no one wants to see Chaparral in the first round. I will bet you that.
Terrifying.
Yeah,
Kevin's terrified right now.
Yeah, and
Randy's terrified.
I mean, when I kind of did an early working of how I think the brackets might play out, good news for Chaparral is they might get a favorable first round matchup. Bad news for them is they will probably see Centennial in the second round again.
All right, let's look at those league standings. Well, no, I get a 1. Oh, there they go. Here they are. Vista Murrieta now 2-0. Murrieta Valley 2-0. Great Oak 1-1. Chaparral 1-1. Temecula Valley is 0-2. Oh, look at this. We have footage from that is Great Oak and Murrieta Valley. That's right, Dave?
Murrieta Valley, Great Oak, yes.
Nels Jensen saw that. He loves Blake, the quarterback down there at Murrieta Valley, and says he's very efficient and taking care of things.
Yeah, Murrieta Valley had to be wondering what their quarterback situation was going to be. They graduated Nathan Matlock, who was among the top passers in the area last year, and then Matt Marin transferred to Chaparral. But Blake, only a sophomore, has got to, definitely be, providing some good, good moments for Murrieta, and they are definitely a threat right now to be in the league title. You know, they're a team that could beat Vista Marietta.
And I think that Vista Marietta is sort of shown that actually one of the callers, Rob, made a good point. He says, you know, you can tell that he says you can tell that Vista Marietta has not played on grass in a very long time, and they had a lot of trouble, a lot of mistakes, and a lot of some turnovers as well. But Marietta Valley has got to be, you know, just kind of plodding along and doing some nice things. So there's our standings as well. So again, looking at that, let's look at next week's games for the Southwestern League. Temecula Valley at Chaparral, Great Oak at Vista Marietta, and Marietta Mesa at Marietta Valley. Is that a dangerous game for Chaparral with Temecula Valley?
Definitely. I mean, it's a rival. It's still the rivalry game out there. It's for the Mayor's Trophy. You know, I think it's been maybe 5 or 6 years since Temecula's even been competitive in that game. So I think they're going to want to prove, and maybe seeing Chaparral as vulnerable right now at 2-5. So.
All right, let's go to the Sun Belt League if we got it. And here we are. So this one really shaping up to a two-team race now between Heritage and Elsinore. Elsinore with a big win against Temescal Canyon. They're arch rivals, 24-10. Heritage, and Kevin was there tonight. Let's ask Kevin about this with Paloma Valley, 35-7. We'll talk about Lakeside and Paris in a moment. But Heritage, Elsinore, what do you think about that one?
Right now, the way Heritage is playing, they're playing like a loose team. They're having fun. I have to go with Heritage. I mean, they run the ball so well. Their line play is very, very good, and their defense is solid.
Right.
You know, I mean, they are playing like a good football team right now.
And what you're really seeing too is a team that now is probably have all sorts of confidence going into a team with a lot of history and movement. So it'll be very interesting to see.
Paloma had won a share of 5 straight league titles, so they've knocked off one of the big dogs in the league, and they still have the one left.
And convincingly too. I mean,
yes.
Although Paloma was expecting that this was going to be a little bit rougher year, they've got a lot of kids out there. So I mean, it's Paloma kind of knew that this might be the year they conceded that title.
Right. I think you got Paris is 0-2 in that Drexler, but we'll fix that. Heritage is 2-0. Elsinore is 2-0. Paloma is 1-1. Lakeside 1-1. Paris and Temescal Canyon both 0-2. We'll get that corrected here. Let's look at the next week's games. And okay, so Paris and Elsinore play each other in that kind of what do they call that game? The big dog.
The top dog.
Top dog game. Even though they're both cats.
Yeah, they're both feline names, but some bad naming there.
Right, Heritage and Lakeside and Paloma Valley and Temescal Canyon, and that's really a must-win situation for Temescal.
Yeah.
You know, they got to win this one.
And not to jump in real quick. Heritage and Paloma played for the inaugural Menifee Bowl.
Menifee Bowl.
And Heritage won it.
Right.
It was kind of funny after the game. Scott Benson said that he heard over the broadcast speaker that it was the Menifee Bowl, and he said, "What? This is a bowl game?" Like he said for a minute he legitimately thought that this was a bowl game for him.
But but I live in Nuevo. What's all right?
The schools in Roma.
Right. Okay. Let's jump up next to the Inland Valley League. I know Kevin Pearson's excited about that one.
Viking.
Well.
I'm a happy Viking tonight.
Right, happy Viking, and in a moment we'll go jump to it. There it is. All right. Rancho Verde, 49-21 over Vista del Lago. Tom Phillips, who covered the game for us, was saying that Rancho Verde did a great job putting a tremendous amount of pressure on Trent Headland, the quarterback at Vista del Lago, and took control of the game in the second half. Valley View, now that's the kind of the win of the night, I think, over La Sierra. What do you think about that one, EPJ?
I'm the only one on the staff picks who called that one, so I definitely believe Valley View is a dangerous team. They have the slip up to Vista del Lago, but they are big, they are physical, they have talent. Max Holmes at quarterback is good, and La Sierra is kind of continuing a trend in recent years of, starting strong and then fading into the second half.
But by the way, what was your record this week in the staff picks?
I believe that would be 14-1 for the second straight.
Nice.
For the second time this season.
Nice. All right, let's put those scores back up real quick.
Big bragger.
Let's see if you gained ground on Scooby. I have to look at those picks here in a moment. Moreno Valley gets their second win of the season and puts themselves in the hunt for the playoffs with a 26 win over Ramona. Arlington beat Canyon Springs in the Thursday night, 41-27 behind Superior Reed, saying bye-bye to Canyon Springs with 260 yards rushing and 3 TDs. What was it, the second half, Randy?
3 touchdowns in the second quarter.
Second quarter, okay. All right, so let's look at the league standings real quick. And there it is, Rancho Verde and Arlington at 4-0, La Sierra 2-2, Moreno Valley 2-2, Valley View 2-2. Canyon Springs and Vista Lago at 1-3, and Ramona at 0-4. That league is kind of interesting.
I don't think we've given Rancho Verde enough credit for being 7-0.
Well, I think it's they've kind of had a slow start, and then they've been in league, but I think they're definitely peaking right now at the right time.
But like I said, it's still the same thing every year with them. Where can they do it come playoff time? Because we've seen them go 10-0 two out of the last 3 years, and not get past the semifinal or the quarterfinals. So it's, I'm definitely interested to see that Week 10 matchup when they face Arlington. How they handle having to play a full game for 4 quarters. So.
All right, let's look at the next week's games. There we are in La Sierra at Arlington, and that's going to be one that's going to be a real. I mean, there's a lot of big games here for the playoffs. Throw out Ramona and Rancho Verde, unfortunately, of maybe being non-competitive at this point. Although Ramona gave Rancho Verde some fits last year, at least for a half. Moreno Valley playing at Valley View, Vista del Lago at Canyon Springs, La Sierra at Arlington. That's a very interesting week next week for them.
Yeah, you have 3 games that definitely have playoff implications. I mean, La Sierra right now needs a win. It's a tough one for them, and I think right now, Valley View can definitely maybe grab a grip on 3rd place if they can win this game against Moreno Valley. But all those teams, if they win, they're right in the hunt, not only for a playoff spot, for even 3rd place in the league.
All right. And I know Kevin Pearson's looking forward to that Moreno Valley View game.
I am. And you know what?
One step closer to the Moreno Valley Bowl championship.
You know what? I think Moreno Valley has actually only won at Valley View, I want to say 1 time in school history. You have to double check that, but I think it's only been once they won at Valley View.
All right, let's go now to Adam, to the Mountain Pass League, which has got some interesting storylines as well. And we are standing by. There it is. So San Antonio gets its 6th consecutive win against Beaumont, and thanks to Eric giving me some of the notes on that. That's since 66. It's the longest winning streak that San Antonio's had against Beaumont, or extending that winning streak over Beaumont now to 6 straight games. The fans love that game, and here's some of the footage from this as well. San Antonio has just dominated Beaumont as of late. Now Beaumont now feels like they got to do some work still. And what are your thoughts on how Beaumont and San Jacinto look?
I definitely figure that San Jacinto would be the favorite on here. I think they've established themselves throughout the preseason as being the favorite in this league right now. They got some great talent on offense with Emmanuel Hutchinson, with Casey Clark at quarterback, Ozzie Sixtos running back. And the big guy to watch out there, David Irving, 6'8", having the interception.
That's him right there, I think, too.
That's 6'8" tight end, defensive end. Iowa State has got a real steal in this kid. So
him and Eubank, the 2 biggest steals from the area at this point.
Eubank will be a steal unless someone really comes to their senses and grabs him. But I think we're slowly starting to see the Division I programs come in there. David Irving, committed early because he just really liked the history at Iowa State. So I think definitely he's going to be a player who, right now at 6'8" and only 230 pounds, get him into a college weight program, and he is going to be
260, 270. Yep. I mean, this is going to be a big kid.
Yeah, he will be a very good tight end.
This is sort of interesting game. Just watching the footage here, and it's like these 2 programs are big schools now, and they are very physical with each other too, and that's an interesting one as well. All right, Hammond's woes continue. They're now 1-6. They fall to Citrus Hill 40-14, and West Valley. I feel like West Valley now has got themselves on the right track after some struggles after that little 2-game skid they had mid-season. They win 48-24 over Tahakowitz. Let's look at the league standings, because West Valley and San Jacinto play each other next week at Mustang Canyon for a possible Mountain Pass League title. Both teams are 2-0. Beaumont's 1-1. Citrus Hill's 1-1. Of course, Beaumont's got the tiebreaker over Citrus Hill, as you mentioned. Right. Tahakowitz and Hemet, I believe they play each other. No, Beaumont plays Hemet next week. But Tahakowitz is 0-2. Hemet's 0-2.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I saw this league headed right now, was West Valley, San Jacinto right now at the top, Beaumont, Citrus Hill in the middle, and Tahquitz possibly the spoiler. And, played some tough games, but, I think this league is shaping up what we thought we'd see. West Valley and San Jacinto, the two teams battling for that title.
All right. Let's look at the next week games, Adam and Dave. And these next week games, again, we'll go over quickly before we queue up the Citrus Belt League. And San Jacinto, West Valley, next week, as we mentioned, Citrus Hill plays at Tahquitz, and Tahquitz gave Citrus Hill fits last year at Tahquitz, and Beaumont playing at Hemet. First meeting between those two schools in over 40 years, so we'll see how that one goes as well. I mean, it's an interesting league. Any thoughts initially on San Jacinto, West Valley?
Right now I would have to say San Jacinto has emerged as the favorite given just consistent play, but West Valley, we know how dangerous they are offensively, and it looks like they have put it together, especially tonight. If they can do that, we're definitely looking, like things are headed for, I think, kind of a shootout in this game. So.
Right. All right, let's move on to the CBL now. And there they are. Redlands beats Yucaipa 23-14. Eisenhower loses to Rev 48-12. And I think Bruick was texting Murphy at halftime about they were up 42-0. Nope, wrong one. That's Cajon Colton. Yeah, thank you. Fontana Miller, we'll go through the CBL quickly. 36-7. Miller beats Fontana. So Eisenhower and Fontana's woes. Let's go to the league standings here. Because pretty much right now you've got Rev, Miller, Redlands is there, Yucaipa's there with the win. Redlands got the tiebreaker right now. Does Rev win this league pretty much? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, Rev, when they beat Redlands, they pretty much grabbed a hold on this league. I could only see them maybe tripping up to Miller, who does have some offensive talent, and they have been tested against some big teams, but that Redlands game, as it is almost every year, was for the league title.
All right, let's look at the league standing, or let's look at the next week's games, week 8 games, and we'll queue up the San Andreas League too, because I want to talk about that one. Yucaipa at Miller, Ike at Redlands, Rev at Fontana. So Redlands and Rev kind of playing this part where Fontana and Eisenhower, I mean, they really don't feel very competitive at this point for these teams.
Yeah.
But Yucaipa Miller's got big implications.
It's a big game for Yucaipa. It's a must-win for Yucaipa. Having already lost to Redlands, they have to be able to beat Miller.
All right, let's go to the San Andreas League now. We do have that footage. So the San Andreas League is really, really interesting as well. I mean, so you've got Sanji beating San Bernardino 41-6. But let's talk about the big game of the night, as you're seeing right here. Cajon and Colton. Cajon 29-20. A win over Cajon. That is the big win of the night. Murphy, I think, called it huge. What did he call that, Kevin? He called it huge, humongous. Is that right? What did he say?
Enormous.
Enormous, right.
Murphy didn't,
ginormous.
He didn't break out ginormous.
He didn't break. I don't know if he broke out ginormous, but
yeah, I mean it's definitely a huge win for Cajon. I mean, Colton, we've seen, have been playing some tight games, and we had wondered what had happened here. And Cajon, with Thomas Carter healthy again, showed that they were right in. We might have been overlooking them at some point. So
I'd definitely say we probably overlooked them the most. I mean,
and they had a lot of injury issues with Carter out for a few games. When they ran up against Kaiser, just totally got run off the field. But it was like, hey, we can. They knew they were going to be in this game with a healthy Thomas Carter.
Right. That's a very interesting one too. Let's go to the league standings. Look at that right now, and there it is. Cajon on top at 4-0. Sanji at 3-1. Colton at 3-1. Royal Valley 2-2. Carter 2-2. Purdue 1-3. Rialto 1-3. Pacific 0-4. That goes to I think 12 games now. Their losing streak goes to, but it feels like you've got a real interesting battle now with Sanji. Let's go to next week's games. And Cajon playing a Royal Valley, San Bernardino at Carter, Pacific at Colton, and Sanji at Rialto. So Cajon and Royal Valley, that's one where Royal Valley Cajon can't look past Royal Valley at all.
Right. It would have been a more dangerous game if Michael Yearwood had been healthy and playing in that game. But yeah, I mean Cajon right now it could be a trap game for them. They're coming off such an emotional victory, and Royal Valley does have talent out there despite the injury to Yearwood to possibly win that game.
All right, let's look at the Sunkist League now with young Drexler, who's our madman behind the curtain over here with Zink. So Summit, a little bit closer game than we thought. Maybe Bloomington put up a fight in that game. 22-13. Summit wins that one. Kaiser gets his fifth shutout of the game or the season.
Yep.
49-0 over Patriot. I thought that might be maybe a little bit closer. I think that's a pretty good win for Kaiser. Obviously, just keep plugging along. Nora Vista takes care of Harupa Valley, but the Titan won 20-13. This is some of the footage or some of the pictures from that as well. So Kaiser head and shoulders better. I mean, just based on the Summit Bloomington score. What do you think?
Maybe head better. Head and shoulders. I don't know. Summit does have talent. It looks like they're trying to, rework their offense. Devin Blackman's one of the most gifted all-around football players in our area, and they started at quarterback. They moved him out to receiver because he was getting beat up a little bit at quarterback. So I think Summit's still trying to find its new identity. They have, I believe, one more week to fight it before they face Kaiser in a couple weeks. So, yeah, I mean, that's definitely a scary result, I think, for Summit. To think that if they're barely slipping by Bloomington, are they going to be able to challenge Kaiser, which is just, pummeling opponents right now.
All right. Let's look at next week's games. We'll look at the standings. Here's Week 8's games. Patriot at Bloomington, Harupa Valley at Summit, and Kaiser at Norte Vista. So, I mean, obviously, go back to the standings for a quick second here. Let me look at this one. So, Kaiser and Norte Vista, Summit all 2-0. Bloomington, Harupa Valley 0-2. Patriot 0-2. Let's go back to those Week 8 games again. And there's Patriot and Bloomington playing each other, and Harupa Valley and Summit, Kaiser, Norte Vista. I mean, it feels like right now that these games, the Kaiser Norte Vista game is going to have a lot of implications for the playoffs as we
right. And I mean, you can kind of look at Norte Vista right now. Do you already hang 2 losses with Summit and Kaiser and kind of say they just need the one more win to get in the playoffs? I think that's just kind of, if you're not Kaiser or Summit in this league, you are playing for third place. So, I mean, it's going to be an interesting game. Norte Vista still got to think maybe they have a shot at second place against Summit. But,
right.
I mean, Kaiser right now, still as they have been for the decade, the kings of the Sunkist League.
All right, last look at our leagues for the night, and we'll get to more stuff in here in a moment. But Mountain Valley League, Rubidoux goes on the road and beats Rim of the World 28-7. We're talking about that one as a really impressive one for Rubidoux. Rim of the World has had its struggles this year, but I mean, anytime you go to Rim and win, that's a big one.
Yeah, and definitely showing that Rubidoux, after years of just struggling and even seeing the school shut down, is back on the right track. And starting at the right point. You get a former player from that proud tradition coming in there and basically teaching the new generation of players what it's all about there and getting them back on
willing them to win right now. Let's go back to those league standings real quick. We'll wrap this one up. Notre Dame, Rubidoux now looking for the possible league championship as they show down Rim of the World and Banning 1-1, Harupa Hills and Citrus Valley 0-2. Let's look at next week's games. And there it is. Rim of the World plays at Banning, Harupa Hills at Citrus Valley, and Rubidoux and Notre Dame for the possible league title down here at RCC. We'll have some of that game, obviously, probably Zink down there jumping for joy if Notre Dame should win. But that's a huge one. It's a big one.
Yeah, that's definitely turned out to be the big game there. And, of course, another interesting game in there, Banning playing, perhaps it's, unless they get a playoff game there, it's final game at Nicollet Middle School.
Final game, yes. I know that facility very well. I'm sure we'll have some coverage on that as well. All right, that is our Fritz Ford. Dave, camera number 3, please. All right, jumping into this one. All right, that's our Fritz Ford League report with Eric Paul Johnson and Kevin Pearson. Now, I want to do one more quick thing with our Fritz Ford scoreboard show here. And I want to show the HS Game Time Top 10 for a minute and get Eric Paul Johnson's take on the Top 10 for the week.
I know voting next week's going to be quite easy.
Yeah, really not much change, I think, in the Top 10 as well.
We went 10-0 in the Top 10 this week.
Right, so yeah, really no changes in there as well. So Centennial wins, Vista Murrieta wins, Rancho Verde wins, Kaiser wins, Roosevelt wins, Norco wins, Arlington wins, Rev wins, Redlands wins, Heritage wins. But you know what? Who are the teams there that are like scratching at the top 10?
Yeah. Well, I mean, King was there this week. I mean, so was Colton, but they both fell off. I mean, if you're probably looking at the 2 teams right now that you have to have jump back in there, Summit's still out there. Obviously, a tie with Redlands shows that they're in that caliber. But I'd say right now, Elsinore, Murrieta Valley, and as much as people may not be able to believe at 2 and 5. Chaparral is still not too far off this
Still there,
list.
right. I like Chaparral. I like Murrieta Valley a lot. I like Elsinore. I think Elsinore is really scary. I mean, for a lot of people as well. All right, Dave. Let's show a couple of let's find some footage to show from our. What was our last game we just showed? Colton. No, let's not show that one. Do we have the Murrieta Valley footage?
And one more team I could just kind of mention who I think is also on that list is San Jacinto. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
They only have that last-minute loss to Heritage.
Yeah, they can very easily be 7-0 right now. All right, guys, thanks a lot for joining us here on our show. We're going to wrap things up here in a moment and get things going. I got stuff to do with Randy Leva here, and we're going to get ready to almost. What time is it, by the way? I don't even know what time it is.
I think it's like 11:45.
11:45. All right, we got 15 more minutes here.
We got time.
We got lots of time to talk. I'm not sure what happened to the audio at some point there, but let me see what we've got going on there. All right. Let's do this. All right, Randy. From the top of the deal here, why don't you go ahead and give us the complete rundown on the board of the top of all the games tonight as we watch these highlights throughout the night.
All right, starting off with the Big Eight, Centennial 69-13 over Santiago, North 35-21 over Poly, Roosevelt 56-35 over Corona, Norco 35, King 15. Southwestern League, Vista Marietta 33-22 over Temecula Valley, Chaparral 70-7 over Marietta Mesa, Murrieta Valley 42-13 over Great Oak, Heritage 35-7 over Paloma Valley, Lakeside 27-21 over Paris, Elsinore 24-10 over Temescal Canyon in the Sunbelt League. Inland Valley League, Canyon Springs, Arlington 41, Canyon Springs 27, Valley View 41, La Sierra 19, Moreno Valley 20, Ramona 6, Vista del Lago, Rancho Verde 49, Vista del Lago 21, Mountain Pass League, Citrus Hill 40, Hemet 14, San Jacinto 37, Beaumont 16, West Valley 48, Talkowitz 24, Banning 42, Citrus Valley 6. Lewis happy about that one.
Yes, I am.
And this one's for Zink. Although he didn't really show much excitement about this one tonight. Notre Dame 42-0 over Harupa Hills. Rubidoux 28-7 over Rim. In the Citrus Belt League, Rev 48-12 over Eisenhower. 23-14 over Yucaipa. And I don't think we had an update on that. Fontana Miller scored?
Miller won. I just don't know the score on that one.
Okay, well, if someone does know in the chat room, go ahead and hit us up with that one. Did I say the Summit? Bloomington, Summit over Bloomington, 22-13. Kaiser, another shutout for them tonight, 49-0 over Patriot.
That's I think their fifth shutout of the year.
Yes, that is. Fifth in a row?
No, not in a row, but I think of the season that's 5.
That's still impressive. Novi, 20-13 over Harupa Valley. Aurora Valley 69-13 over Pacific. Cajon 29-20 over Colton. Carter 14-7 over Rialto. And San Gorgonia 41-6 over San Bernardino.
Well, that was a huge night. It looks like we just lost our audio again on that on the whole thing there.
Yeah, it sounds really weird.
Yeah. All right. That is going to be our show for the night. We will see you guys again next week here on HS Game Time Live. It was great having you in, Randy, and we'll talk to you again next week as well. Is there any game here that stood out in your mind as well?
I think just the same game I kept bringing up is that North game over Poly. That win over Poly was big for them. Mm-hmm. They needed that for the team morale, get their spirits rolling for the rest of the league, what they have to do. Like I said, they have nothing to lose, and so a win tonight couldn't have been better for them.
Lewis?
Yes?
Before we go, can we show Vista Marietta Temecula highlights?
Yes, absolutely.
We had a young reporter that was out there and did a great job with some video, and I've had some grief from the young reporters.
Okay, well, show it. Let's see it.
There you go. You're looking at footage from the Vista Marietta Temecula game. It was a tie game 27-20, I believe, until Temecula attempted an onside kick, weren't able to recover, and Vista Marietta scored.
I think it was 27-22 up until
27-22.
But certainly a close game and a great effort by Temecula to push Vista Marietta, which is looking like the favorite in that league at this point. Temecula is a program that's
a year away from a 1-win season, I believe.
Yeah, and they're improving, and they're getting better. They've fallen on a little bit of hard times lately, but they are a program that's playing tough and getting there, and they're taking steps forward. And tonight was certainly an indication of that, to be able to push Vista Marietta until the closing minutes.
And a nice pass play right there. Very nice.
I think they've shown a lot of grit this season. That's for sure. I mean, I think that Temecula, they could still scare somebody. I mean, like we talked before, they could be a team that knocks out Chaparral at some point.
I don't know, Lewis. Did you take Vista as being a little? I'm not going to say soft, but they definitely weren't. They didn't have the same fire in their belly that they did last year.
Yeah. Well, of course, we're saying that as we're watching Derek Brown, have a nice option play for a touchdown.
Right.
I think they're a very nice team this year. I don't think they're the same team that willed themselves to win every time. But this is a one-loss team that lost to a very good Crespi program too. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's also this. They have a big. I think you said it, Randy. They have a big target on their backs too in that league, and Temecula Valley knows that they should be in that area. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna dismiss what I saw last from against the Chaparral game, where it was just kind of so, and give them the benefit of the doubt.
And where'd you get the information about the grass field and feeling uncomfortable with it?
That was Rob from Mr. Marietta made that comment.
Is that what he said?
That he says you can tell they haven't played on grass for a while because they haven't played. He said they haven't played on grass at all this season. I guess this is the first time they played on the natural turf. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if when they played down at Pacific Palisades, I don't know if that was on grass or if that was turf.
Especially when it's re-weathered.
Yeah. I mean, look at that. There's a nice little fake punt. Nice work, Paul Jensen. He stayed right with the ball.
Well, Paul knows his stuff.
He does as well.
He comes from good stock.
He does. And let me ask you this before I try to hurriedly expedite the whole endeavor. I'm going to ask Randy, what are the 3 games here that stood out in your mind tonight?
Besides, I can't hear myself. Am I on?
No, you're probably not.
Okay.
Yes, she is.
I am?
Yeah.
Okay. This is weird, so count me if I am. Besides the North, I was going to go with the Roosevelt game as well. I mean, I'm not trying to just advertise the Big 8 tonight, but Roosevelt stood out to me too because that win was huge for them.
Right.
Going into the 5th week of league play, if they didn't have that win tonight and they had another loss, because the Big 8 is just all over the place to begin with, besides Centennial.
All right. And what else was anything else that stood out in your mind?
I was gonna go with the Banning game.
Yes, absolutely. Good for you.
Wow. Kiss up.
No, not really. I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Not surprised, but I have to give props to Kaiser for a 5th shutout so far this year. Not in season, but this year.
And Kevin Pearson, what are your 3 that stood out in your mind?
Certainly Cajon beating Colton tonight to take control of the San Andreas League. That was obviously a huge victory for that program and where they're trying to go. Colton's been the top team in the SAL for a while, and maybe we have a changing of the guard. I think Roosevelt bouncing back and beating Corona, that was a must-win game for them, and Corona's a very, very solid team. Certainly a nice job by Roosevelt. And skewing away from Moreno Valley a little bit, I'm going to go with actually West Valley beating Tahquitz, just because West Valley has had a few struggles this year, and Tahquitz was playing well of late. It seemed like they were rallying around the coaching situation. And for West Valley, that's a good win to double up on Tahquitz right there and to really prove that they are back on track.
Yeah, I feel bad for the Tahquitz situation. It's a mess, and I think that's there's a lot of talented players out there. One of the problems with Tahquitz too that people don't realize either. It's like suddenly like the smallest school in that league, And so they're severely undermanned in some of these cases as well. So I'm Tacos has a chance against Hemet, but it's be interesting to see how they finish out the rest of the season. I think that the surprises here.
Another one, too, real quick. The Valley View being in La Sierra.
Absolutely.
That to me, that's one of the biggest, probably biggest wins of the night.
You know why I think too, Kevin, is because Valley View has been all over the place this season.
And you know what? Talking with their coaching staff before the year, they thought they had a team that could gig a playoff berth and do some damage. But I mean, they've been good. They've been bad. They've won games they probably shouldn't have. They've lost games they should have won. They have just been a team that nobody can figure out. And tonight, beating La Sierra, who's a good team, is a good win for Valley View.
Right. Yeah, I have to put that on my list because, Valley View is one that surprises me. I think, I'm just going to say it for Dave Zink that I think every time I see Centennial score put up those kind of points, it surprises me. I'm just blown away by it every week that they're so prolific and they have such great defense as well. The margin of victory just is ridiculous.
We should keep track of every night or every Friday if they have the largest score.
Right. I mean, pretty much they feel like they have. There's a 70 on there with Chaparral.
Yeah.
And then of course Cajon beating Colton is my other one. Dave, what are your three big ones tonight?
As far as wins?
Yeah.
I think Valley View's the biggest because we put so much stock in La Sierra, although I wasn't fully convinced that they were the number 3 team in that league. They had a good start to their season, and Valley View did not. So that surprises me. The North beating Poly surprises me just because I figured they'd be two evenly matched teams, and North got their first win, so that's kind of surprising to me. And for my third, I'm going to have to say Cajon. Although you can't count either one of those teams out of any one of those games. It's kind of a rivalry game for both of them. And also the fact that Cajon's been a good team. Colton's been a good team for a long period of time. I didn't expect that. I expected a good game, but, as it's been in the past, I expected Colton to be on top. And I got to say to all you Cajon fans, you were right. I was wrong, and I apologize.
What is there to apologize about? I don't know.
Yeah, I was wrong, man. I was wrong.
I have to apologize.
Well, it's always a close game, so.
You know how they always – actually, it hasn't been.
Last year?
What was score last year?
I just had it up, and my computer crashed.
Your computer crashed, right. I think Colton won that game pretty convincing. I can look it up here in a moment. Hey, a couple of quick scores. Just double checking up in the high desert. Granite Hills beat Silverado tonight 8-6, which does not bode well for Old Summit, which lost to Silverado earlier in the season. And Oak Hills beat Victor Valley 36-0. Serrano beat Sultana 56-7. Apple Valley beat Hesperia 24-16. And that's all I know. So good show, everybody. There's the Cajon Colton stuff. Feel free to look at our on-demand stuff here later tonight. We'll have the full replay of HS Game Time Live on our HS Game Time site as well. And we look forward to talking to you guys again next week with Week 8. Hard to believe, Dave, Week 8 is here. My goodness, where did the season go? That's it. It's almost over. Kevin Pearson, thank you for joining us. Randy Leva, thank you for joining us. Jeff Prenny, thank you for joining us. Drexler, wave. Go to camera 4 for a minute. Let's wave at Drexler. Drexler, jump into the shot. There's Adam Drexler on camera 4 with Dave Zink. Drexler doing a fine job, even though he has Temecula Valley with the V down and had a couple of mistakes, but he did a great job as well.
I'm surprised you can see him around Dave's head.
Wow.
It's all right.
You know what, Dave? I'm going to apologize right now for that comment that Pearson made. I'm going to apologize for the way I treated you earlier because I do love you, man. It's all love. All right. Good job, everybody. We'll see you guys again next week here on HS Game Time Live.
It's the Game Time Show, man. We here right now.